Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Dustin Fox, Jason Lloyd, Tyvis Powell, plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Well, the running of the Bulls is running behind.
Raging Bull, where he at? Where he at today, man?
He had some congestion on the roads.
I thought you said
and in the body.
I thought you was gonna say he had congestion of the bowels or something, bro. Like, that's crazy, man.
Bulls had a rough day.
He will be here momentarily. He was running a little late because of he has his surgery tomorrow.
Yeah.
We talked about this a lot. He's having his surgery tomorrow, so he's pretty nervous. So when he gets in here, we won't make fun of him to his face, even though we've told him this on the phone. Well, we told him this on the phone a second ago when he called us. But
oh Lord, they done retaliated.
Yeah.
The drones are striking.
Hey!
So it shook your crib?
It shook the house. Yeah, it was something.
I thought I got a tree hit, fell down or something, bro. I guess, man. But I'm glad to see people believe in reality. I didn't see too many conspiracy theories today. There wasn't anybody that said that was mythical, and we
something everybody agreed on.
Something we all agreed on, that there was a comet. We have proof of it.
I guess they found pieces in Medina, like they found rocks.
I would love to get a piece
and
of that rock.
You could sell those online for a lot of money.
What you mean?
Yes.
Really?
NASA would love. I would imagine NASA would love to.
NASA's paying, like not just randos, but NASA is paying.
Do they know exactly where it landed in the lake?
I don't think it landed in the lake. It was Medina. It was around Medina.
Oh, I thought maybe pieces broke off in Medina and then.
No, it landed in the lake. Pieces broke off in Medina.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to get
I thought it disintegrated, like as it entered the atmosphere.
Man, most of the
then what did you think that thing was that people saw?
The explosion of it disintegrating.
Oh,
most do burn up. Most do burn up in the atmosphere, but you can find them all over the place, like especially in Antarctica. Like you get a lot of these meteorites and I wouldn't say asteroids. So there's a difference between one of them is rock and one of them is ice.
You just know this. I don't know. Most of us don't know anything about this stuff.
I'm a weird.
So we're just talking out our what.
It's weird. Listen, I used to get in my encyclopedia back when there was encyclopedias. When the traveling people used to come to the house.
We had all shelf lined up with all the volumes.
Man, we had them encyclopedias. We got them one year, and they were selling them as an investment. This is an investment in your children. We had them encyclopedias, and when we had no cable, I used to go in the closet and throw all the clothes on the ground and get under the covers and look at these, like, encyclopedias about space.
The encyclopedia was like, when you were a kid, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, people, if you're not old enough, you may not have experience. But I remember having the Encyclopedia Britannica, and that was like a big deal.
It's a commercial.
People used to sell it door to door.
Yeah,
we couldn't afford those. We got the Goodwill ones that were old and outdated. Yeah. We were poor.
We waited. We got ours from the Salvation Army because local Malone College or Walsh, they basically donated them because they were updating them.
Yeah,
and think about how crazy that is. You had to update the information.
Yeah, how often? I wonder how often they updated the encyclopedia.
We had encyclopedias from like the 70s when I was a kid.
Oh, really? Yeah. So there's a lot of out-of-date material.
Ours was not
I would
colored.
love to still have them.
That'd be crazy.
It would be cool to kind of look through them. I remember just like the pictures were so amazing. And
Pluto was still a planet back then.
Yeah.
Man,
those are the good old days.
Good old days.
All right, you guys, I should be busting my chops about, I think
I did. I said you had congestion on the roads and in your bowels.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first, I think it's the first time I've ever been late.
I do think it is the first time.
My first time I've ever been, I think it's the first time I've ever been late in my entire career. And I'm very upset about it. I've cut it close sometimes. This is the first time I've actually ever been late. And I'm not going to get into the details, but with the surgery tomorrow, I just have had a nervous stomach this morning.
It's like
I haven't even. I'm not eating anything.
Has it settled down? Can you make it the next 2 hours?
Yeah. I finally.
But I don't. You know,
I kept thinking like, oh, I'll be fine. Another 10 minutes.
Man, you on that? Listen, you let somebody drink liquid for 2 days in a row.
I know. And then I was like, I called Mike, and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving the house, and I'm like, it was 10:42, and I'm like, I'm just gonna make it in time. And then, of course, there's construction going on my block, and I happen to be pulling out at a time when this truck is in the road. And eventually, I was there for like 3 minutes, and then I honked the guy. I'm like, I gotta go. What are you doing? And that was the difference. If it had not been the construction, I would have just made it under the wire.
It's a
gotta take my first L. I'm very upset about this.
Game of inches.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Game of inches in seconds.
Anyway, feel free to bust my chops as much as you want.
So chat,
you deserve it.
Are you
roast bowl in the chat, and we'll read some of these at the end.
Are you not allowed to eat solid food? Like, when was your last solid meal?
Yesterday I was still allowed to have solid food.
Okay.
But I haven't been eating a lot. I've lost 21 pounds in 19 days as of yesterday. I weigh myself today. I'll weigh myself tomorrow. But today I can't eat any. Today the only thing I can have is water. I can have Crystal Light. I could have sugar-free ice pops and sugar-free Jell-O as long as they're not red.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then before I go to bed, I have to have a Gatorade Zero.
Yeah.
But it can't be red again.
Yeah.
There you go.
That sounds like colonoscopy prep. You had one of those? Have you had those?
I have.
Oh.
I had leading up to this.
It's awful.
And then tomorrow, I have to have another Gatorade Zero in the morning, and then that's it. And then for 2 weeks, it's only liquids. I can have protein drinks, which I can't have today, but I can have protein drinks, sugar-free ice pops, sugar-free Jell-O, and bone broth. That's all I will be able to have for the next 2 weeks starting tomorrow.
Don't worry about it. You ain't gonna be able to want to eat that anyway.
Especially the first few days.
Yeah, you gonna like.
So I hear.
No parts.
So I've been told.
Hey, you might go in there being miraculous. You might come in, you know what I'm saying? At least you get to listen. Your wife has to take care of you now, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, have you given her the list of things? Like, you got to have a bell. You're gonna get a bell to ring.
I gotta have a bell.
Yeah, man.
Why?
So
am I gonna
wait
talk
on you?
Yeah, so she can wait on you. You can't.
I don't think she would like that.
Because you can't be screaming. You know.
That's true.
You using all your diaphragm.
That's true.
I think you should ring the bell.
Yeah, ring the
and
bell.
See how long it is until she takes it and hits you in the head with it. How many
like
rings?
a live cam feed of this.
You have me ringing the bell in bed.
How many rings can you get off?
Yeah, I think
she rings your bell.
Maybe 1.5. I've only met her a few times, but her demeanor looks like she's not a ring the bell type lady.
No, she's not. No, she'll take good care of me. But I'll be in the hospital for 2 days till Saturday if everything goes well. Mm-hmm. If I die tomorrow on the surgery, then it's been nice knowing you all.
Jeez. You're not gonna die.
You never know.
We were very excited for you.
You'll be good.
We were
man.
very excited for you, your journey.
I'm not. I got to lose weight now.
Hey, you don't want to be the.
I told you I'm not going to be the fattest guy up here.
and his stuff.
Well, it's still going to take me a while, but
man, can you
shed pounds the next month?
Can you Skinny Bull?
I've been skinny since I was 23.
Skinny Bull might be one of the most up top dudes. Can you imagine his argument skills when he gets small? If he's in a smaller jean size with a button up, it's over.
Yeah.
There was no way. He's like, in my heart of heart, I'm not losing no conversation. I'm Skinny Bull. What are you talking about?
Maybe. I hope it actually comes to fruition. All right, Mike. Now that we've finished talking about my nonsense, let's go.
Let's get into our first topic. But Bo, because today is your last day on the show for a while, tell everyone what changes are coming to UCSS starting
starting Monday, which I will not be a part of, but others will. I don't know who's working next week. We're a little short staffed.
And Mike, you might want to email. You got to email me Sunday night.
Yeah.
At
remind you.
At like 6.
Yeah.
Like, they'd be like, hey, listen, dog, you do know.
Yeah.
That the show starts at 10.
G. Bush might be on by himself all next week.
Well,
I don't know.
No, the week after.
Aren't you going away?
I'm at the owners' meetings the week after.
Oh, so you're in next week.
I'm at next week's normal. The week
all
after.
All right, so they got Jason too. Anyway, starting Monday, you have to watch us at a new time, 10 a.m., and at a new location, WKYC Plus. We will now be on starting Monday from 10 a.m. to noon instead of 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. From 10 to 11, we will be on exclusively on the WKYC app. You will not be able to watch the first hour of the show on YouTube starting next week. I know change is always scary and hard for people, but this is really simple. You could do what G. Bush just did.
Yep.
You use the QR code. You take a pic. You scan it.
WKYC app. I did it 3 seconds, and now we are streaming. As you can see right there.
You got
Beautiful.
it.
All right,
Anywhere
guys,
in the
let's
world.
get into our first topic. We start with the Cavaliers and their win last night over the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Evan Mobley, after we spent a lot of Monday show saying, Ev, where you been? Need more from you. Well, he delivered last night. 27 points, a season-high 15 rebounds, including 6 on the offensive end of the court. Jason, we know Mobley's got the talent, but how do the Cavs get this version of Evan Mobley on a more consistent basis?
It seems like a want to with him at times, where some nights he's engaged and locked in, and other times it looks like he's a million miles away. I do think that, Mike and I talked about it on some of the Cavs shows that we did. I do think that some of the pick and roll actions with Harden are improving, and that's a good thing. No, Jarrett sometimes brings out the better end of Evan. But ultimately, how do you get this out of him every night? I think that's up to Evan. And it may sound silly, but there's some nights where it just feels, watching it, like he's just not engaged. And there's other nights where he's just an absolute animal on the court. And last night was one of those nights.
Yeah, this is what we wanted to see. No Giannis. And by the way, God, I'll give the Bucks credit. This game was a lot closer than what people may think. Kevin Porter Jr. acted like he wanted to just be, I don't know who he thought he was. He was out there cooking. And he just felt like they couldn't miss for a while. But Evan Mobley, the thing I'm most impressed about was the 15 rebounds. And I go back to what James Harden said in the post-game conversation a little bit. He's like, Evan Mobley, 27 points, 15 rebounds. He should have, and he goes, should have had 30 plus. He should have had 35 or something like that. But we'll take it. But I agree. I like that sentiment. This is on display. We've seen what Evan Mobley can do when he is aggressive, when he is assertive, and when he figures out that I'm going to get to the basket and a lot of these guys can't cover me. And the thing about the Cavs, they have the advantage, and I know everybody's playing small and everybody wants to go with these small lineups, but the only way to get people out of that is to make people guard your bigs and to put them guys in conflict. Hey, if you want to shoot threes on the other end, that's great. But we're going to put you in pick and rolls. We're going to make sure Evan Mobley get the ball. And then we're going to hammer you down low and figure out whether or not you're going to foul us or put us in a position where we're going to be getting easy layups or putbacks. So this is the level of energy that I like to see. And this is the consistency that you're looking for. And this is the stuff that's going to be the make or break. We keep talking about it. Tyvis says it. He is the X factor. If you can get this from Mobley, you can contend with pretty much any team. But it's all about the consistency, boo. It's just about day in, day out.
And that's the thing. And then Jason and Mike have been saying for years, Mobley's got to be the best player, It's a little different with James Harden here. He doesn't necessarily have to be the best player. But the difference between Evan Mobley and guys who are elite players is that they do this all the time.
Yes.
And maybe not every single game, but they do it a large percentage of the time. Evan Mobley doesn't do this a large percentage of the time. Is it possible? Is he still young enough at this point in his career that he could? Yeah, I wouldn't say there's no chance. If last night is the Evan Mobley that will become the norm, or at least the semi-norm, then the Cavs could definitely win a title. But right now, there's no reason to believe we're going to see that guy every day. Obviously, Giannis not playing is a big factor, especially in the rebounding.
Sure.
But it's funny because yesterday I said, we were talking about this because Mike had the numbers for all, I think for Donovan, Jared, Evan.
The on-offs.
The win-loss record when they're not here. And for when Jared Allen doesn't play, the Cavs record stinks. When Donovan doesn't play, the Cavs record was not very good. when Mobley doesn't play versus when he does, they basically had the same record. So my point was, why is Jared Allen so much better when Mobley's not there, but Mobley's not so much better when Allen is not there? But last night, he was.
I think individually he does have some of his best games when Jared isn't there. It may not be.
It doesn't translate to victories.
It may not be impacting wins and losses necessarily, but it feels. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but it just feels like some of his big performances have come when Jarrett isn't there, and frankly vice versa as well with some of Jarrett's games.
And this is the biggest game he's had without Jared Allen and with James Harden.
And this is why it's frustrating sometimes because it's in there. You know it's in there.
Right.
And that's like I said after last year, I'm not saying he can be the best player. I do think he can be. I'm not saying he will be. I'm saying the Cavs' only chance of winning a championship is if he is.
Do you still feel that way even with Harden here?
No, it changes a little bit with James here.
But it obviously gives them a better chance.
Yeah, if he plays like that every night, which I don't know that he's going to.
I do think it was interesting that he played that well with both Mitchell and Harden.
Yeah.
It wasn't like one of them was also out, and so there were more shots to go around. It's not like Jared Allen being out doesn't take away opportunities from Mobley.
It kind of does, though.
Well, in the pick and roll, you're right. And now it does with James there.
And last night was by far the best we've seen Harden and Mobley work the pick and roll. A couple of things real quick, and then I did a little breakdown if you guys let me play it in a sec. But in March, he's played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's played 8 games in March, so decent sample size, right? He officially came back from the calf injury late in February. In March, 8 games, he's averaging 22 and 10, shooting 59% from the floor with 2 blocks, a steal and a half, and 3 assists per game. He's playing better of late.
He is.
He's been playing better. Now, the free throw percentage is egregious.
Yeah, what did he do last night? I can't remember now.
Last night was 3 of 5 from the line. In the month of March, where he's averaging 21 and shooting 60% from the floor, he's shooting 52% from the free throw line and just 24% from 3. So he's averaging 21 and 10 without being able to make a shot.
Was shooting the worst free throw percentage of his career.
So if he could just find even slightly above his season averages in both of those, it'll go up even more. And as he continues to play with James Harden, they'll kind of find better pick and roll chemistry. I did a little breakdown this morning. Do you guys mind if I play? It's like 2.5 minutes long.
Yeah. Go.
This kind of highlights what Mobley did yesterday that allowed him to dominate a Milwaukee team, granted without any kind of superstar big that he was going against.
Yeah.
But it's the little things he did last night that make the Cavaliers really dangerous if he can do it against better teams. Mainly the last 3 plays we look at, how he operated in the pick and roll against with James Harden compared to how we talked about him operating the pick and roll following that Orlando game a couple weeks ago. It's like 2.5 minutes. Take a listen. Evan Mobley had arguably his best game of the season against the Bucks last night, and let's look at how Evan turned aggression into points. Let's start with the offensive rebound part of this. Mobley had 6 offensive rebounds in the game. That is the most he's had in a game this season that didn't go to overtime. 15 boards on the night, the most he's had in any game this season. And just look at this real quick. Bobby Portis, Evan Mobley. Strength advantage probably goes to Bobby Portis. We've argued, we've debated, we've complained. Mobley, you got to be more physical. We'll see where the position starts. And look where this ends. Mobley moves Portis out of the way, gets the board, goes back for the easy 2. Watch this one more time. Mobley to start this play is in the right help position in case the drop-off pass came from James Harden. As the shot goes up in the corner from Donovan Mitchell, he moves Portis out the way, gets the board, finishes. Thing of beauty. Next play. Next couple plays, actually. We did a breakdown the other day on how the pick and roll between Harden and Mobley hasn't been as effective as the Jared Allen Harden pick and roll because Mobley's not a traditional rim runner. Evan must have saw that because on the next 3 plays we're going to show, watch how his rim running impacts the rest of the play. This is not a traditional pick and roll. Instead, you're going to see Harden and Mobley come down and set a little double drag screen for Max Strus, who comes off from the pass from Keon Ellis. After Mobley sets the screen here, he's going to hard dive. Watch what that does to the defense as Strus comes off, catches this pass. Mobley makes contact, hard dive. It's a 2-on-1. Portis in no man's land. Strus throws it up. Mobley finishes with these. Once again, as Strus comes off here, Mobley makes contact. You can see the contact right there. That leaves Strus and Mobley now in a 2-on-1 against Bobby Portis. As Strus gets downhill, Portis in no man's land. Mobley, 2 points. Here, it's James Harden, right? We've been talking about the Harden and Mobley pick and roll. This is One of the first possessions of the entire game. Mobley's going to screen, roll hard, and he leaves Harden with two perfectly good options, and Harden chooses to give the ball back to the screener here. He doesn't even make contact on the screen. Doesn't matter, though, because he rolls so hard, the defense has to respond and respect it. And if he had chosen, this is the man now guarding Evan Mobley, who's supposed to be guarding Sam Merrill. If Harden wants to, he could take Merrill for the open three. Instead, Harden's eyes are reading number 7. As 7 trails off Mobley, comes back to Sam Merrill. That's going to leave a wide open Evan Mobley underneath the basket because his man, 20, is now trailing. It's way too late, and it leads to an easy dunk. Once again, the hard rim run opens up things for everything else, and there's no better example of that than this right here. Early in the first quarter, shot clock running down. Mobley's going to come set a screen for Harden right in this area and immediately open up and roll to the basket. It's a more traditional pick and roll setup than how Mobley likes to operate with the slip, finding space. Harden reads it perfectly, little drop-off pass, and that is a really skilled finish from Evan Mobley. Once again, not complicated, guys. Hit the screen, make contact, roll to the open space. When you have an elite passer like James Harden, he's going to find you. And when you're as skilled and talented as Evan Mobley is, those are finishes he can make around the rim against bigger defenders. Evan Mobley hasn't taken a step back this year. It's the consistency that's killed him. And when Evan Mobley plays consistently like he did last night against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be incredibly difficult to beat in any kind of 7-game playoff series.
Nice job, Mike. That was a good breakdown. Who is number 7, by the way, on Milwaukee? I don't remember.
I think it's Marjon Beauchamp.
Oh, one of my favorites.
G League two-way guy.
On that, by the way, on that second to last play you showed where number 7 went back out to Sam Merrill, that was bad defense on his part, wasn't it? Shouldn't he have stayed with Mobley? I know he's not a big guy, but...
I mean, you want to leave Sam Merrill wide open for 3?
Isn't that better than leaving Mobley open under the basket?
I guess it's a philosophy.
Yeah,
you don't take 2s or 3s.
Yeah.
It's, hey, right there. And I guess he figures that the guy behind
it's a really
was
good
recovering.
pass for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a kind of number.
He's reading Harden's eyes. Harden gives a little no look. He drops off it. That's tough play to guard.
What really stood out to me was the last basket you showed because that was a type of bucket from Mobley. You don't see him make those kind of moves. It's usually just a dunk that last shot. Is this the one? Like
yeah,
that,
it's a really tough left
like
hand.
without going off the glass too. Like that was a pretty tough shot.
With the left hand, by the way.
Yeah, I like that one.
Jared Allen too. Jared Allen has weird to say, but he has way better touch than Mobley down there. Jared Allen is very adept at any around the paint, like left hand, right hand. He shoots a very high percentage. Now Mobley still shoots a good percentage, but yeah, that is a tough left hand finish. Now, Mike, the thing I looked at as well is I took a look at these the stats a little bit, and I've been saying this since James Harden got here. There's 3 different versions of James Harden. You can get the passing facilitator version. You can get the uber aggressive Houston version that is a high volume shooter but still is going to pass the ball. And then you kind of get one of those like mid James Harden where he's with the Nets. He's trying to facilitate but he can still score. I think that he needs to be more on the spectrum of a scorer. When he's coming off them pick and rolls, James Harden has to have the threat of him coming off being aggressive looking for his shot will eventually open up the rest of the stuff off the pick and roll. You take a look at what he did last night, 27 points, 7 to 10, 2 of 4 from 3, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. I'm a firm believer that if the Cavs want to be competitive with the top flight teams, he's going to have to be more in that 24, 25, 26 range.
I wonder if his injury, G, has affected maybe some of his aggressiveness on offense.
I think he's just trying to fill it out.
Yeah.
I just think, Jason, you come into the situation where Donovan Mitchell is the guy. You're trying to figure out what guys can do because you can get yours. Yeah. You're just trying to figure out where Sam Merrill likes the ball, what Evan Mobley can do, which side on the pick and roll can he finish. So I think it's a little bit of him just getting acclimated, but I think it's still in there.
I think the thumb is what it is at this point. I really don't think it's hindering him that much.
Okay, good. That's great.
One correction real quick. Kevin Porter Jr. is number 7. Marjon Beauchamp is number 7 on Philadelphia. That's my bad. I had my teams mixed up. But Harden had 11 free throw attempts last night, G.
Yep.
That means he's turning the corner, getting downhill. In the 4 games after he injured his thumb, just those first 4 games, he had 13 twos and 23 threes. Since those and the 4 games after that, so their last 4, it is back to flipped where he's taking more shots in the restricted area and rim, less settling for threes, which I think is a good sign towards him being more comfortable taking contact going down.
It clearly means he's feeling better, which, as you say, it might just be.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
He's
but
adapting.
he probably does feel, he's adapting.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, it's going to be a little painful at times, but, he can play with it.
Donovan has not shot the ball well.
No.
He's in a little bit of a funk here, in terms of, he's a scorer. I wouldn't call him a natural assassin from wherever he's shooting the ball, but he's 4'14", he struggled. He looks like he's struggling with his shot a little bit. Sam Merrill was struggling with shot. He kind of turned around the other day and was like, finally I made one. So it's kind of,
Get the slumps out of the way now.
Yeah.
The one other takeaway from last night's game, we'll talk a little football, is I know it's only the second game back for Max Strus.
Yeah.
Kenny inherently trusts him. He was closing with Max Strus in his second game
no
back.
doubt.
The other wings in the rotation, still fighting for positioning in the playoff rotation.
Yeah.
Max Strus just put him in marker.
Yeah.
Permanent marker.
And let's face it, Max Strus, he's fresh. He's going to have better legs than anybody else right now. You worry about rust, obviously, but he's fresh. He looks good.
We worry about endurance right now and stamina. He's got to get his legs under him.
Yeah, I thought he was huffing and puffing a little bit the first couple of games, which is natural. He's just he's trying to catch his breath, especially So, they'll tell you when you're playing basketball, you rest on offense, right? On defense is where it kills you. like chasing people around, and if you don't have your basketball legs underneath you, it's brutal because you just feel like everybody else is running circles around you, and you just man, these dudes is in shape, man. That'll take a little bit of time, but in terms of what he's done so far in the court, you can see just from the first game his impact and being able to come down and knock down shots. So, hopefully get his legs underneath him and get in that rhythm. So,
one other thing I want to hit on real quick before we move on from the Cavs, guys. Mike mentioned how we talked about it yesterday, and now Mike mentioned just again that Evan Mobley's free throw shooting has been terrible. For the season, it's been bad. For recently, it's been even worse. Obviously, he has 3 weeks and change to kind of turn it around. But are we to the point now where he's shooting so bad that we have to worry about every time he touches it in the paint, they're going to foul him in a playoff game? Maybe not. Maybe every time is a little strong, but
I think he's a liability. I don't think it's going to change now. If this is what you've been to March 18th, this is probably what you are for this year.
That could be a big issue in the playoffs.
It could be. I don't think it's too much to say that very much could be a liability with him.
It's weird because his rookie year, I want to say he shot maybe 72%. It wasn't crazy.
It wasn't that high. I think he was 60. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. I think it was 65. But it's every year until this year it went up.
Yeah.
I think last year he was 72 or something like that.
His career.
Yeah.
Rookie 66.3.
Okay.
Second year 67.4. Third year 71.9. Last season 72.5. This season 61.3. And
what
in the 50s
happened
in March.
I don't know that there's really an explanation
crazy.
for it.
It's all mental.
There's
all
weird
mental.
Every year he got better.
Yeah.
And his first year for a rookie, big guy, that's not bad, 66, whatever. It's not terrible.
And you would think because he's taking more threes that, he's shooting the ball more, which would equate to a higher, but it really don't.
No.
When you hit the free throw line, that stuff is all mental.
Yeah.
Especially in crunch time. It always seems to be he always seems to be the guy who gets fouled in crunch time. And if you got
not a coincidence.
Yeah.
If he can't make a free throw, he can't play close games.
It makes the decision a lot harder for Eddie Atkinson to leave probably your best defensive player, and he's that much of a liability.
Does he shoot? Does Jared Allen shoot free throws better or about the same clip?
Oh, I think he's better, right?
I believe he's better. Let me pull it up real quick, and I can confirm for you. But Jared Allen on the season and for his career 71.3% free throw shooter. This year 72.5.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not amazing, but that's fine.
If you're an NBA player, you should be at 70%.
70% at worst.
Yeah.
At worst.
70,
yeah.
You ought to be able to shoot
72 for a big guy. Fine, I'll live with that.
I'll take that.
You can't have 60, and certainly, as you said lately, it's been 50%.
52.2 in the month of March, despite the fact he's playing very good basketball in every other capacity. He just can't buy a jump.
And how many times is he going to the line per game?
In March or on the season?
For the season.
For the season, he's taking a career-high 4.6 free throw attempts per game.
Huh. I would have thought it was higher.
Well, and listen, he probably telling us his is better than Craig Porter Jr.'s.
Craig Porter Jr. is a bad free throw shooter?
I feel like he's in the 50s, bro.
I mean, as a guard, you can't be a bad free throw shooter.
Well, I'll look up Craig Porter Jr. in a sec. In March, he's averaging 6 free throw attempts per game.
So, like, okay, that's costing you 3 points.
Go
Or
ahead.
2 or 3 points per game.
But he should be in that 6, 7, 8 range.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yet he's not making them, so you don't want him at the line.
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But the way that he should be attacking enough and aggressive enough to where the attempts are low. Like, they shouldn't be that
Yes.
low.
Right, that is weird.
His attempts should be higher.
But he's getting more attempts lately, and
He
he's
has been.
shooting them worse.
Yes.
You know,
He has been more aggressive. He's been going
Yes.
downhill. He's been not playing and shying away from contact more, which has led him to finishing around the rim as well as he has lately. 60% for 8 games. I mean, Jared Allen, we know, is 70% basically for his career, third highest field goal percentage in the history of the NBA. Mobley takes too many shots that aren't right around the rim to ever be that high. But 60% for somebody who shoots a couple threes a game like he does means he's not missing anything close right now. He just can't buy a three.
he can't make a
and he can't
three
make a
or
free throw.
a free throw. He's making everything down low.
Everything.
Yeah.
I can pull up the splits for the end of the show and find out his field goal percentage in March within the restricted area. It's
Probably like 70%.
got to be higher.
Maybe higher, you're right.
Maybe even higher, yeah.
Real quick, what does Kenny have to do? Like, so when Jared Allen comes back, and if they deem Jared Allen is the best in the pick and roll and finding pockets for Harden to get him the ball and finishing, what is Kenny's plan for what Evan Mobley is doing off the ball while Jared Allen is in the pick and roll? Usually, you got a guy that's running around that you could possibly be like a guy in the corner that's standing there ready to shoot. But if he's not that guy, how do you get him involved in the offense backside if he's not going to be in the pick and roll? What ways can you make him a threat?
It's a good question. I mean, he's going to
so-
have to figure that out.
Yeah, he has to figure it out.
Yeah.
Kenny last year implemented this cutting offense and talked about the 2 bigs can create space by their movement, even if they're not three-point shooters. You obviously want them to be a three-point threat. Neither particularly has been, but there are ways to create space by your movement as opposed to standing still. The issue with that, as we've talked about before, Harden wants you to stand still. Harden wants to know exactly where you're going to be. So those 2 styles are kind of counterintuitive to each other, and that's going to be the biggest single challenge for Kenny Atkinson and this Cavalier staff to figure out how to mesh those, because defensively I think we've seen they are significantly better with the 2 bigs. They just are.
Right.
And at certain points of the game against certain teams and against certain lineups, you're going to need Evan and Jared on the court at the same time for defensive purposes, but you still got to be able to score. And the Cavs' biggest issues in the playoffs the last 3 seasons hasn't been the defense. It's been the fact that they haven't been able to score consistently enough when they need to. They got to figure it out, and that is
Especially
without a question,
from
the biggest question.
the role players.
Yes.
All right, well, Zach Jackson is going to join us, 11:45?
Maybe noon, he said. It depends.
Maybe noonish, we'll see, from
he's
Penn
at
State.
Penn State Pro Day.
But for now, we will switch gears and talk some Browns.
If you want more Cavs talk, we did do an Ultimate Cavs show yesterday, Jason and I. It is on our YouTube page. You can find it. We covered a little bit about Allen's injury, some role players stepping up, how to get Jalen Tyson back involved in the mix, and much, much more. You can find that on our YouTube page right now. All right, guys, let's talk a little football. There were 2 big-time mock drafts that came out yesterday. Bull's favorite exercise. But Mel Kiper Jr. and Daniel Jeremiah, 2 of the most respected in the business, dropped their mocks. They had different picks for the Browns at both 6 and 24, which sparked a question in my head. So let me show you the 2 picks from each guy at each of the Browns spots. Then I will ask you guys a question. At number 6, Mel Kiper Jr. has the Browns taking left tackle Monroe Freeling, while Daniel Jeremiah had the Browns taking wide receiver Carnell Tate. At number 24, the positions flipped. Kiper Jr. had him going left tackle first, then taking receiver Mekhi Lemon at 24. Jeremiah had them taking Carnell Tate first, and then taking an offensive lineman, Caleb Lomu, out of Utah at number 24. G, when you look at all the possibilities at 6 and 24 for the Browns, is there a bigger drop-off in your eyes between the prospects that will be available at 6 versus the prospects who will be available at 24 at the wide receiver position or at the offensive tackle, offensive line position? What position has a bigger drop-off from the talent available at 6 versus 24?
I think it's I think it's tackle. I would say tackle. But it's close. I got 3 tackles that could possibly be, first-round picks. I got Fano rated higher. Maui Noah, Freeling is moving up. But I like, if you wanted to go receiver early in the first round at a 6, I like Blake Miller a lot from Clemson. He's one of those guys that I really like, and I think that you can get him in 24. But there is a considerable drop when it comes to receiver. There's 3 of them: Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, and Mekhi Lemon. Now, Mekhi Lemon just went to his pro day, ran a 4.4, so kind of sounding some of that. Carnell Tate, I don't think they had their pro day yet. He'll probably go run faster, but his tape to me is the most pro ready. The guy that I look at is Jordan Tyson, and he's the most athletic, but the problem with him is that medical. He's had ACL, he's had some knee injuries, he's done some things. He's been injured pretty much every single season. And so my thing for the Cleveland Browns is, I believe if you're going to take somebody at 6, you better be starting day one. Like, we can't afford to have you sitting around injured. We can't afford to, training camp come around and Mikey McNuggets is talking about the tracker in terms of Jordan Tyson and how long he's going to be back and when he can get into the fold. So, but I think when you look at Freeling, I think he's a high riser, but I think he only has played 15 games or so. But he fits the mold of a very young tackle that, the Browns like young players that they can get to a next contract and then possibly be 25, 26 in their second contract, and then they're in their prime. He has the intangibles, had a crazy workout. So I think the drop-off slightly is higher. More of a drop-off at offensive line rather than the wide receiver position. There is some guys you can get there. Denzel Boston, you got guys like KC Concepcion, you got guys that may be able to move on the board, but their body types are a little different. And Zachariah Branch is another name, Bell from Louisville. Their body types are different, but there are 3 main guys for the receiver group, and there's 3 main guys for the tackle group. It all depends on what the Browns want to do. They got a lot of different ways they can get, and plus you talk about the trade down. If they can trade down and still get one of those top 3 players at receiver, I ain't got a problem with it.
I think their number 1 priority would be to trade down if they could. Wish list, dream scenario would be to trade down if they could. I kind of look at it as you need top end talent. So I don't necessarily care so much about which position's deeper. You got the 6th pick in the draft as of now, unless they trade down. You need blue chip talent at that spot, regardless. That's why I still wouldn't rule out a defensive player, because you need dudes on this roster. So if tackle is deeper, but you like the guy at the top better, take him. So I don't know that you should, because you just never know how these drafts are going to fall and where guys are going to go. I don't know that you have an idea for sure of who's going to be available at 24, but you're not going to know for sure. So, but you can have a lot more clarity at 6, obviously. So I would say don't even worry about, not don't worry about it, but where's the top end talent? Where's the higher elite talent? And that's where you're going to go, because this roster just needs talent. And then I would also turn it another way before you go, or maybe after you go. Which position do you trust them more to get right? Because they've missed badly at both.
Those are the 2 positions that they've been the worst at. Right. So I don't have a ton of faith either. I was listening to NFL radio. It was Pat Hayden, I think, and I can't remember the other 2 former players. And they were saying, one guy, I can't remember the other guys, but he's very in tune with the draft. And he said, in his opinion, there's very little blue chip talent in this draft, but that there's a lot of good talent in this draft. But that after basically the first 10 picks, he was saying like picks 11 to 60 could go in almost any order.
Those are dangerous drafts, by the way.
Yes.
Because
very dangerous.
You get a lot of misses at 12, 13, 14,
right,
and a lot of hits at 54, 55,
the drafts
56.
that get GMs fired for that exact
That's
reason.
absolutely
Jason.
it. That's absolutely
and so
it.
you're right. We always spend time talking about position of need, and obviously we'll leave quarterback to the side for now. Wide receiver and offensive line are their two biggest positions of need.
Yes.
Now they have upgraded their offensive line, but they still have a glaring hole at left tackle, and they have, at least, in my opinion, two glaring holes at wide receiver. And I could argue they really need two more offensive linemen for the long term. So it's again, I agree with what you're saying. I don't care if wide receiver's a little deeper. If you think Carnell Tate is a better player than Monroe Freeling,
take him.
I take Carnell Tate. Yeah. That doesn't matter.
He has to be a player.
The only way I would consider the position in the end is if it's neck and neck. If I can't decide, they're both equal level talents. Well, I need this a little more. Let me go with this guy. And that's why, I'm not going to completely say no to defense, because it seems like where the Browns are drafting, that really the best players are on defense. It's not ideal for the Browns to draft a defensive player, but you're always better off drafting a great player at a position you don't need, or at least obviously don't need, or it's not obvious that you need, than taking a guy you're not sure is great because you need that position. Because if that guy's not great, you still need that position anyway.
That's how you wind up with a lot of mediocre to bad players.
Yes.
We're going to take a guy here because we think there's going to be depth at 24.
Right.
Well, now you wind up with two mids rather than a dude, and then figure it out at 24 when you get
there. If the Browns at 6 are just like, if we don't know what they feel about Carnell Tate or Monroe Freeling or these offensive linemen, if they think those guys are just nice players, good players, they're going to be good pros, but not special, and they look at Sonny Styles and he's available, and we're like, this guy's the next great. You got to take him. I know everybody will lose their minds.
No, I'm with you.
But you got to.
I totally agree.
Now, if you do that, you better be right.
He has to be.
You better be right. He better be a special player.
Yep.
And you also have to do something still to address that position.
Absolutely.
So if you do take Sonny Styles and then your offense comes out next year and is still bad at receiver, or your offensive line don't show up, you're still on the hook.
Right.
You can't say, well, I took the best of it. You still have to figure out a way to fix that. Either if you need to trade or go get an existing player.
Yeah, I mean, in free agent, is there any free agent wide receivers still out there?
Not really, but to G's point, they did that last year. They took Mason Graham at 5 as opposed to the 2 tackles and the receiver that went in the next 4 picks.
And Schlesinger after that.
Yeah.
Like, how many times should I say they traded down and they used their top 2 picks on defense?
Yeah.
So they knew the offense was horrendous last year.
Right. And really their only option to get better at wide receiver is the draft at this point. I mean, I guess a trade is possible, but
there are some receivers that are still out. I mean, Jawan Jennings, who won't come here, I'm assuming after the stuff that he said to Malik Collins and Shelby Harris.
But there's no
Stephon Diggs is still out there.
Stephon Diggs is not coming here.
Deebo Samuel.
But
these guys
play anymore.
I'm just naming receivers who are out there.
There absolutely could be trades during the draft. That's every year. Guys get traded during the draft.
Right, but I'm talking about we're talking about premier talent.
Yeah.
The only way the Browns can get a premier wide receiver probably at this point is through the draft.
Yeah.
Now you might be able to get a premier wide receiver, or a guy who turns out to be at 24.
It's tough. The way the game is built, it's very tough because of what the asking price is for these receivers. If you're going to tell me they got all that for Jalen Waddle, right? I think they gave up the first.
They get a 1?
A 1, a 3, and a 4.
Well, no,
there
they
was
already they traded a 4.
There was a swap. The 4 was a swap.
It was basically a 1 and a 3.
Yeah.
1 and 3.
I mean, you got that for Jalen Waddle. I mean, Jalen Waddle's a nice player, but I mean, you get all that for Jalen Waddle. My thing is the asking price may be higher than what the value you may get for. Say, for instance, it all depends on how they feel about these guys. If you look at it and say it's Carnell Tate, but you think after Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson and Mekhi Lemon is mid, or they're just nice players and they're not going to be anything extravagant, then you might go in and say, well, look, we have to prioritize where the blue chip guys are. If we fell in the draft to 6, guess what? We got to take one of those guys, and we'll figure out how to get that position fixed. And you may have to pay for a receiver, or you may have to trade for something, and you may not come out on top in terms of the best value. You may not fleece nobody.
Yeah.
But you still got to address that some way.
Why can't I remember who Jalen Waddle got traded? Oh, Denver.
Denver, correct.
Like, for Denver, I mean, you could say it's an overpay, but Jalen Waddle is most likely significantly better than a wide receiver you're going to get at 24 in the draft.
I mean, they're in the AFC Championship.
They were, yeah, so
right.
They're
trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle is now their best receiver, or you know,
forget
1B with Sutton.
Forget them picks. That's the point where picks don't matter.
The Browns are not in the position to really do that necessarily. No. But again, if they traded the 24th pick for a good wide receiver, I wouldn't have a problem. But I don't know that that's available.
If the Browns, and I know we want to get creative. I think I'm going to do a mock draft later on today. I know we want to get creative. But if you come out of here and you say, we drafted our starting number 1 receiver and we drafted our left tackle in the first round, I don't think anybody has no problems with that.
Right.
Like,
well, they got to be hits.
As long as they are hits, if you can come away with a receiver in the first round and they come out and they say, based on their evaluations, these two, because I want to see what they say, these guys got to be starters. Ain't none of that, we're going to work them in slow. No, if you're going to take Freeling, he has to be able to play.
Of course.
Tony, I think I was reading an article I did on Ultimate Browns. Tony Grossi talked about kind of slow playing them and walking them into the situation because they still got DeJuan Jones a little bit.
What?
The talk on Freeling had been that he's not ready and he's a developmental guy.
Yeah.
But DeJuan at left, like the Browns already said, DeJuan at left tackle was a disaster.
I'm sorry. If I'm drafting a guy at 6,
he got to play.
He better play right away.
Yeah. He has to play.
Except for maybe quarterback, which they're probably not going to do. If I'm drafting a wide receiver or an offensive lineman tackle at 6, he better be ready to play.
Gee, question for you. Tevin Jenkins has played left tackle in the past. Is there a way, if they take Freely and say he's not ready, and I agree with you guys, if you take a guy at 6, he better be ready to play. Is there a world where Tevin Jenkins is the Browns' starting tackle next year?
I don't
like doing drugs before the
guard or something.
Yeah,
I'm just asking out loud.
I don't. Man, they signed him as a guard. Your plan is faulty if you sign somebody at guard and then you all of a sudden you talk about him at tackle. No, we can't.
I'm not even sure he's a starter for them. Definitely last year.
Jenkins?
Yeah,
he is. I think he is.
Definitely.
Well, yeah. I mean,
what about Zinter? I mean, not Zinter? Whippler.
What about him?
You're telling me it's not possible that Whippler starts instead of him?
If he does, all right, cool. But like I don't
think play Elton Jenkins as the other guard.
I think if they felt comfortable with Whippler at guard, they probably don't re-sign Jenkins. But the fact that they upset the apple cart to the extent that they did with benching Wyatt and all that just to get Tevin on the field because they felt Tevin was better than Wyatt at the end of last season and they wanted to get a look at him. Yeah. I said like they're going to re-sign Tevin.
I don't think he's a sure thing to be a starter, but we'll see.
I think he's pretty close.
And maybe they draft a guard late and that guy ends up being really good.
Oh no, I would let me stop playing around. I wouldn't be mindful or wouldn't mind at all if you gave me. I need 2 linemen and 2 receivers.
Oh yeah,
like I need and by the way, this is gaining some steam. If there's a running back available that I like, I would not mind drafting a running back. That you need, like you said, we completely agree on this. You can't have enough ball players. You can't. You cannot have enough bodies out there because you look at Sampson. I mean, he's a third down. He's a third down receiving back. He's not you saw what happened when they needed to run the ball later in the season. They had to bring 2 guys off the street basically to put in the game. So he's a nice third down back, but you got to have at least a couple more of those guys. But whoever they get at 6, at least at Mason Graham, they got Mason Graham at 5. And the thing I can say with him, and I've always said it, he got 17 games, 17 weeks to play. He started all those games. He got the experience. He did get hurt. He's going to get stronger. And at least he has that plug and play.
And he's a good player.
And he's a good player.
Will he be worth that pick?
We shall see.
We shall see. He's got to become a star.
Bare minimum.
He's a good player at least.
Bare minimum, that person needs to do exactly what Mason Graham did. You got to start all the games, show me something, and be good.
Yeah.
All right. Zach had to relocate, so we're going to get Zach in. Once he relocates, they asked him to move. They couldn't broadcast with something.
A lot of controversy with
So
Zach
Zach's
at
going to
Penn
move.
State.
We'll bring Zach in once he's ready. We got another topic before Zach, though. We're going to remind you, before we get to our topic, follow us on social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. X, Instagram, TikTok. Still posting content on a daily basis to all 3 of those. Plus, hit the like and the subscribe button. Costs $0, 0 cents. Download the KYC app, and we will see you guys on the WKYC app on Monday. Real quick, while we're waiting for Zach, David Njoku took a visit with the Baltimore Ravens, a free agency visit yesterday. It's the first known free agency visit that David Njoku has taken since he was released by the Browns earlier this offseason.
And Wyatt Teller, who Jason mentioned.
Yes, but
Signed.
we're not talking about, well, that's a totally different thing.
Is that later? Are we talking about that?
No, that was old news. That wasn't yesterday.
He
People
signed with
were-
Houston. There, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
People were very mad at David Njoku for
That's
taking
absurd.
a visit
So stupid.
to Baltimore.
What?
Jason, we were having this conversation before the show. Please explain why you believe it is incredibly dumb for people to be mad at David Njoku.
The Browns didn't want him anymore. What do you expect him to do? You expect him to retire? Because, like, I did see something on social media where people were like, how could you go play for the Ravens?
What?
I'm like, how could you not? If that's the team that wants you,
He doesn't have a million options right now.
There were 2 dudes in that locker room last year who were begging to stay here. David Njoku and Wyatt Teller, and they got rid of both of them.
Yeah.
So what do you expect these guys to do?
Yeah.
Like, they want to keep playing, they're going to extend their careers, so you got to go where the money is.
If David Njoku was in demand, he would be signed already.
Yeah.
Like,
we're deep into free agency.
whenever you're to the second week of free agency and you hear this guy is visiting a team, that means very few teams want him.
You're looking at a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Or 2 years with minimal guaranteed money in your
Minimum.
You're right.
Right? If you're doing a visit for free agency,
is the kiss of
you're
death,
not a
bro.
hot topic.
Like, you want to visit? That's flyer all day. That's like saying the Guardians is working out a picture from Triple A.
What do you think about fans getting mad at Njoku?
I think y'all playing with me. Is this a real story?
Was there a lot of people really getting mad?
If you give me a few minutes, I'll throw in a bunch of tweets and tag board to show you guys what I'm being dead serious with this.
No,
And
I believe you.
You know it's real if Jason, who doesn't even open his phone to ever go on Twitter, saw some of these.
Yeah,
So-
I saw yesterday. I saw some people complaining about
This
it.
is business.
This
Njoku
is
going
the
to Baltimore.
dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like look, bro. That's like saying you they don't renew your contract at work.
Yeah.
And then you see John at the post office or something. He's like, yeah, I hear you're working for our competitors now. Yeah, they gave me a job. I was on unemployment for 3 months.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking how I was. Like, what are you talking about? Like, of course I'm gonna go get this money. like it. What is he supposed to do? Just shrivel up and just die?
What is he got to take the AFC North teams off his list?
First of all, let me tell y'all something. Guys don't be thinking like that.
Yeah.
Joe Hayden played for years for the Steelers.
Right. And he loved it. He was Mr. Cleveland.
Like, he was Mr. Everybody.
Yeah.
I think sometimes everybody had this thing where everybody thinks that the players are Joe Thomas. There's only a couple of players who get the chance to say, I'm about to retire here, or you know what, I'm so loyal to this team and I got so much stature and history with them, I'm going to just gracefully bow out. I already got my money, I'm cool. I see myself as a lifetime Brown. There is like 1 or 2 people. This Jim Brown.
That's very rare.
And Joe Thomas. Like, come on, man. To be honest, you don't even get that opportunity. They don't even ask you about that.
Right.
And then Njoku was just trying to.
I don't get it. I mean, Trey Hendrickson signed with the Ravens. I don't care.
It's
doesn't bother
Get
me.
wherever you gonna get.
Yeah, guys, again, David Njoku. But even if David Njoku had a lot of choices and chose the Ravens, so what?
So what?
That's his business.
The Browns didn't want him.
Yeah.
Yes.
They moved on from him.
Yes.
So you can't get mad at your ex because they're dating someone hotter than you.
Yeah,
But
you're
you
right.
broke up with them.
The Browns obviously don't care
That's
that
the
David
worst.
Njoku.
That's the worst. 'Cause
Yeah.
now you got to look at him on the Instagram. You got to look at him on
Yeah.
the gram. You're like, man, that dude is definitely smaller than me. He got that's crazy. He in shape. He out here winning. Listen, he got it all together. You can't even hate on him. You be like, yeah, he's educated too. You like, dang, he ain't even know a rapper. You just with an educated dude who's nice. And then when you see him in Target, Hey, how you doing? I love your show. Garrett Bush, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
My wife tells me about you all the time. I'm a huge fan. You're like, shut up. Actually, it's not a real story, so don't look at me. Rosie, I had nothing to do with this. It was just theoretical. Theoretical.
Is she watching?
No, she doesn't watch any of this.
She's at work.
Yeah, she doesn't watch any of this.
Yeah, so this is a hub. This is a nothing burger.
Yeah.
There's no. First of all, he hasn't even signed with the Ravens. It's not like he's
Just visited. Just a simple.
but who cares?
I'm gonna now forever look at the Adam the Bull visit. That is definitely a telltale sign.
I'm telling you. Whenever I see that, it's like, because none of the free agents signed last week did any visiting.
Ain't no visiting. If they
signed and then you went for the physical to make sure it was okay.
Hey, they give you the Zoom call. Yeah, just make sure that check is good.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm mad at David and Njoku. Come on, man, guys know.
All right, Mike.
All right. A quick reminder, Bull, tell everyone we're going on Monday.
On Monday, the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is moving. We will now be on from 10 a.m. to noon every weekday, starting Monday, this coming Monday the 23rd. And to watch the first hour of the show starting this coming Monday, you will have to have the WKYC Plus app. It couldn't be any easier to download. If you want to do it, you can click on the QR code with your phone right now or any device. Or you could just go to your app store and download the WKYC Plus app. You could download it anywhere, any place in the country, any place in the world. There's no cost. There's no cost to download it. There's no cost to use it. And that will be the exclusive home of the first hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, 10 a.m., starting next week. So make sure, if you haven't downloaded it already, please do so now. So you're set and you don't have to worry about doing it on Monday morning. The second hour will remain on YouTube. It will also be on WKYC Plus, and we encourage you to watch it on WKYC Plus, the new home of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Thanks for that, Bull. Zach, update.
Yeah.
Penn State has lost internet on the campus. Driving to a cafe. We will get Zach from Penn State Pro Day momentarily.
I think we'll have Zach another day. Probably.
Before that, let's talk a little bit about how certain teams are handling dead money. We know the Browns have been hesitant to just cut ties with Deshaun Watson and some other players. They restructure contacts, push some dead money down the road. And that could not be more different than how Miami this offseason is handling their dead money situation. Miami right now is paying over $175 million in dead money for the upcoming season. It is over half of their salary cap allocation on players who will not play for the Dolphins this season. You can see some of the numbers on the screen. They're paying Tua over $50 million not to play for them. They're paying Tyreek Hill $28.2 million not to play for them. They traded Jalen Waddle to the Broncos, $26.3 million. Jalen Ramsey, they're still dealing with the ramifications of that trade, $20.9 million. Fitzpatrick, Chubb, Ron Armstead.
The Browns are paying guys that are no longer on the roster.
Yes, but they have not just completely cut ties and moved on. They have restructured and let them move in different avenues as opposed to saying goodbye.
I mean, but who else could they do that with besides Deshaun?
They could have done that with a couple players in the last few years, including Jack Conklin had they wanted to. They've restructured.
Yeah.
They restructured Njoku's deal twice. They could have cut him last year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's a right or wrong way to do it. My question is, in your guys' opinion, you look at one team like Miami who's saying, bring all the dead cap on this 1 year. We'll eat it 1 year, move on. And you look at the Browns who have kind of pushed the can down the road and not taking that one gigantic cap hit. Is there a right or wrong way, or is it situationally dependent on each team, each organization, and their goals?
I don't know that I buy that the Browns are uncomfortable with cutting guys, and I just think it was circumstantial that it happened. I guess they didn't want to take the 1 year hit for Watson. I don't know that these other guys with the Browns, I think they thought those guys still had some value.
Well, Watson is the big one here.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is still here, that is their belief, is that you keep pushing it down the road,
right? Because
the cap expands, so the percentage that it eats up is smaller every year.
Yes.
In theory, it makes sense, but in this instance, I think Miami did it exactly right. That's what I was advocating for last year.
Right.
Cut him. Don't tell me you can't cut him.
Yeah.
You can.
They can.
I said that all last year. As soon as he tore his Achilles, the contention window with that group ended. Now, it ended before that when we saw how horrible he was on the field. But it ended for sure when he was driven off the field on the cart. That was it. Cut him. I talked about it before. I had people tell me it was like a dark cloud was lifted off the facility. The owner said it was a swing and a miss, and he's still here. And now you're telling me he could be the starting quarterback again? It's insane. They should have cut him last year. They could have reworked it to where they could have broken the hit up over 2 years. Don't tell me it can't be done. It can. Miami just proved that it can.
Well, Miami did it. Denver did it with Russell Wilson.
You rip the Band-Aid off in one shot. You take your lumps because they were never going to be good last year. They were never going to be good.
Yeah.
We knew they weren't going to be good. So if you cleansed sort of the cap and the books a little bit on this reset, like it just feels like it's a death by a million paper cuts by doing it this way to keep extending this out, to keep pushing this out, to keep them around, to keep them in the bill. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I think they both can work depending on the circumstances. I agree with you that I would have moved on from Watson already. At this point, I don't really believe he's probably not going to start, but the only thing I'll say about keeping him is it does seem like if you're going to start Shedeur Sanders, it seems like they have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the one caveat. But I would have cut him last year, same as you, and then we would have never even really known that. I think Miami, who's been not as bad an organization as the Browns, but in the grand scheme of the NFL, they've been on the lower tier of organizations also. I like what they're doing here. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to work in the long run. They may build it up. They've torn it down in one fell swoop.
Yes.
And that doesn't even include, it includes Jalen Waddle. Now, Jalen Waddle is different than the rest of these guys because Jalen Waddle is young and good. Mm-hmm. They got valuable things in return for Jalen Waddle.
Yes.
And if they trade Devon Achane, that'll be the same thing.
Schefter said they received calls are not trading Achane.
It's so weird to me. Like if
you're going to take 175 in dead cap hits, this signifies to me that they're not really they're interested in future plans and draft.
Yeah, but they signed Malik Willis.
But I think with how the money came down on that, the way it ultimately, what they really truly wound up paying them,
it's like 14, right?
They can get out of it next year if it doesn't work.
It's front loaded.
So they're paying.
Right.
They're playing for the 27.
Right.
But even still, like
they're not going to be very good next year.
Even if let's say Malik Willis is not very good.
Yeah.
Even they don't even have to get rid of him. They could draft a rookie and let the rookie come along slowly.
Yeah, they're playing for the 27 draft. They got a 1 year look at Malik Willis.
Yep. Yeah.
If he hits, great. They're still not going to be very good.
Right.
But if you believe in him, if you see enough that you think that there's something there, you can go, okay, fine. Now you got a really high pick and a loaded draft.
Right.
Where if you don't want
need to get a quarterback,
you can trade down and get
even more picks.
But more than likely, if it doesn't work with Malik, they can cut him or whatever and move on from him, and you get a quarterback. They are very clearly playing for the 27 draft, which was what I was advocating for last year with trading Miles. Like, that's why the Dolphins did exactly what I thought the Browns should have done last offseason, where you take the hits, you take the dead cap hits, feel the pain, acquire as many assets as you can, and start to rebuild this thing rather than drag this out.
I think the difference between the Dolphins and the Browns is the Browns was in a position where they had already gone through a 1-31, and that was already on your resume. So it was a very hard sell to then come back again so quickly after you went 1-31 to get Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield, and your window was so short. It was like 2 years and 2 impossible years that the organization was like, hold on, I don't know if we can actually sell this to our fan base. Like, we can't sell. Like, I get it. We would, if we trade Myles Garrett, we could get something for him, but I don't know if we can survive going back through another 1-31 with this situation.
Well, they had quite a few years from 1-30. Like, they were trying to contend 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. They weren't very good at it, but they were trying to contend. This regime was not here for 1-31, but I don't think Andrew Berry wanted to be the GM that had the Deshaun Watson anchor around him and traded Myles Garrett. You probably can't survive that.
And in the end,
but that's not the right reason.
The Browns, in a way, are playing for the 27 draft anyway.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the reason they haven't done anything at quarterback, and they're going to more likely than not give Shedeur Sanders a chance. And if he swims, then fine. If he sinks, then you're going to be terrible.
And the idea about pushing money forward, I know a lot of people have very mixed opinions on Joe Banner. But the one thing that Joe has been vocal about, and I don't know Joe well really at all. I've had a couple conversations with him, but I don't really know him. But I agree with him on this. He's been vocal in the past about if you've got a team that can contend, borrow for the future. Like, it's okay then, if you want to borrow into future caps.
Yeah.
But if you're not,
which is what Philly does.
Yeah. But if you're not a contender, why are you taking from the future? And that's where the Browns are right now. Why do you keep taking from your future when you're not going anywhere? You weren't.
Right.
We knew they weren't going anywhere last year. They're probably not going to be. I don't think they're going to be very good. Does anybody think this team's a playoff team?
No.
I don't think they're. I mean, maybe you disagree. I don't think they're a playoff team.
I mean, I wouldn't jump out the window and just say they're a playoff team right now. I told you the goal is you give me 8 wins, I'll be ecstatic.
So why do you keep borrowing from the future? And don't tell me that the cap is a myth. And don't tell me that the Deshaun deal doesn't hurt what they can do. Because is Tyler Linderbaum here today?
Right, that's
No,
true.
he's not. Now, can they still maneuver around the cap and can they still fill out a roster? Yeah, you can. But you couldn't get the target that you wanted.
You couldn't get the elite offensive line.
Because of that. So don't tell me that it's a myth. It's not. Don't tell me that the Deshaun deal doesn't hurt them. It does.
Oh no, the Deshaun deal comes with consequences. Like when you go get somebody and you give them that contract, you're at a point where it's gonna count. Like you can't. It's nothing easy you can get out of. I would say, why are they doing that? I think it's a lot to do with expectations and self-preservation. If you look at it, these guys have jobs, right? And they had a plan and everybody was cool with a certain amount of wins until it wasn't cool no more. And then the owner said, hey, look, I feel like we should be able to be more competitive. See, it's easy to sell a tank and it's easy to say we gonna do this for this year. But I'm going to tell you something about them Sundays. Them Sundays have impact. And when you come in here and your team is losing week after week, that it's very difficult for them expectations to then stay the same and stay level-headed because you watching your fans, you watching the stadium be empty. So you think to yourself, okay, I signed up for this, but in reality, can you be patient enough to roll through it? And this year there was a no because the coach got fired. So now the general manager, if he may think about the future, but if you going to be doing some things that's going to get you up out of here for the next dude? Absolutely not.
Yeah, they last thing, the Browns, the cap is not a myth, but it is very flexible.
Yes.
Sure. If you do it right.
And the Browns have more flexibility than any other team because Jimmy's not afraid to be flexible with it. And yet they're still, with the way Jimmy is willing to spend, the Browns should never. You have to be so bad for the cap to negatively affect you if you're the Browns.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they are.
I think they're number one in the league over the last 5 years in actual dollars
Which
spent.
is crazy.
I think.
Because they're bottom
They're
5.
definitely top 3.
And they're bottom 3 probably in wins.
In terms of project stockpile, I will say this. I got the Cavs. They're the only team over the luxury cap that's the most expensive team in the world.
Yeah.
The Browns, they will kick down the can. They don't care. They will pay people and remortgage, refinance all the time. And it's crazy because those two have not given any championships. So, the
Cavs have.
The Cavs have, yes.
Yeah.
But in one way, it sucks because you're like, dang, I wish we can get it right. But at the other end, you are correct. They have a shot because Jimmy don't care about the bread.
And the other end is the Guardians, who are in the mix every year, even though they don't spend it all. All right, we finally got
Zach. He's coming from an undisclosed location. You guys will see here in a second. A quick reminder,
Under
the Ultimate
deep cover.
Brown Show is still going on. G. Bush will get an episode up. He put one up yesterday, I believe, G, about Carnell Tate, whether he's worth the 6th overall selection. You can always find the Ultimate Brown Show, the Ultimate Cavalier Show, the Ultimate Guardian Show on our YouTube page. That's not changing, so go check it out. And with that, let's welcome back Zach Jackson from a
Sheets. I love Sheets too. Let's go. Sheets got the best Philly cheesesteaks, bro. The mozzarella sticks. This is Diaries of a Fat Kid right here. But yeah, shout out to Sheets.
Nothing like a good Sheets, man. It is the best. Zach, what did you get for a snack at Sheets, or did you not get anything?
Yeah, I just came in, so I wanted to be the first one to ever be on this show from Sheets in State College, Pennsylvania, and I have accomplished that. So here we are.
The shot looks great, by the way. The lighting's actually perfect. We should have more remote hits from Sheets locations in State College, Pennsylvania.
I love all these people that are walking into Sheets. There was one guy who turned around to look. He's like, what is going on here? Zach,
he's got a take on the Browns quarterback situation. He told me.
Right.
Everybody does. By the way, have you anything interesting going on like at Penn State that's of note for Browns fans?
Yeah, so I was here to see Drew Aller throw.
Yeah.
Okay.
He did. It ended about an hour ago. Campus-wide internet is out, so I'm just down the street. But he looks the part, right? In shorts and T-shirts has never been the issue. But we know the story. Medina kid, highly touted recruit. His sophomore and junior years were outstanding, and then nothing went according to plan. His plan, anybody's plan, his senior year. He had a fractured ankle. The coach got fired. A team that seemed to be a lock for the college football playoff crashed. And I think in a way, Drew Aller's draft stock crashed. And it's because he, just never won the big game. He never took that next leap. But it's all there. And in this quarterback class, man, every guy that's got a little bit of something there is getting a second and third look. So he's healthy. He threw at the combine. He threw today. He's got private workouts and meetings lined up. Now, he did not specifically say that the Browns are one of them, but I'm sure there are because he's from Medina. He would not even count against the 30 who can come in the building, so I'm sure he's in the plans. He's going to go in the 4th round, probably, with a chance to go in the 3rd. So he's full clearance, and today was a part of a big 3-week stretch where he's got to convince one franchise. He's trying to convince multiple, but he's got to convince one that he can be part of a long-term solution.
Did you get a chance to see the guard? I can't. Is it Loani?
Vega Ione.
Venga Iowane.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I would have never got that correct.
Yeah, I did see him, and he looks like an NFL guard. He looks like one of those guys that's already been in the league for 5 years. He's like 6'2", 320, and tree trunks for legs. So he was there. They're all there. He and Drew just did the position workouts. The Ravens offensive line coach was there to see Iowane. A lot of people are targeting, that as a landing spot now that they're back in the 1st round. Not that the Max Crosby thing didn't happen, but Drew Aller's the star of the show. Now, I thought it was semi-notable that there weren't a lot of quarterback coaches, offensive coordinators, GMs here to see Drew Aller. Now, in a way, they know who he is and what he's about. It's just when is somebody going to take the chance? And he's got to win them over, with the Zoom calls and the visits and the board work and say, hey, I know I'm a developmental guy, and can someone develop me and get something out of it down the road? And I think where the Browns are, right, Shador's got the runway to win the job. We know Watson's on the team because he has to be, and they could use another quarterback in that mix. I don't think it'll be Ty Simpson. So will it be 2nd, 3rd, 4th round? Will it be Aller at pick 70 or in the pick hundreds? I think it could be.
The Aller smoker on the Browns has been there for a couple of years. He's just a name that's sort of been floating in the ether as someone that they like. Did you see anyone that you recognize from the Browns there, and how many? I know you said you didn't see, there weren't a ton of quarterback coaches or OCs. How many were there? How many teams were there if you had a ballpark?
Yeah, every team was here for Penn State's Pro Day. Every team was represented. Now, the Browns had 3 scouts, not high level, not the quarterback coach or anything like that. So that's standard. The Browns have not been a big pro day team. I think last year in this whole journey, I think Stefanski went to 1 pro day. They do their own private workouts and they do their own meetings. They have their own way, like everything else, like the Cap. They have their own way of doing it, right? And they do it right, except they just don't ever win anything. So they did have a good draft class, and it does line up for mid-round quarterback. Hell, it even lines up for second-round quarterback, considering the number of veteran offensive linemen they either brought in or brought back. So I think a lot of things are on the table, and I think Aller has to be on any short list of guys they're considering. It goes Simpson, it goes Nussmeier, and then it's Aller, then it's Cole Payton, a 1-year kid from North Dakota State, and Taylon Green, who's a project who might get moved to tight end but could come in and run the ball. I mean, when you look at Aller, he's 6'5" and almost 230. He already looks bigger and stronger than last year. There's a lot to look at and work with here. And that's why he's going to get drafted, despite the end of his college career not going the way that he intended. That's why he's going to get drafted potentially on the 2nd day.
Zach, we talked about some mock drafts before you joined us, and it could be left tackle, it could be a receiver. At this point, over a month out, where do you get the sense the Browns are leading with their first selection?
Yeah, I'm wrestling with it. I'm still going tackle over wide receiver at 6. I think the plan is to try to trade down. The pro day, and I'll be there too. I think the pro day everybody's watching is a week from today in Columbus, where all those Ohio State guys, Carnell Tate, and then all the defensive guys. Obviously, the ideal situation for the Browns would be some team is trading up, right, for Caleb Downs or Sonny Styles or David Bailey. The Browns move down. They can still take one of those offensive lineman, or take Carnell Tate not at 6, add a pick maybe in the second round, and move on from there. So I think it's pretty clear that at 6 and 24, or wherever their 2 first-round picks end up being, that wide receiver and left tackle are probably, where they're going. I don't think they're doubling up on offensive line, but I don't think it's totally out of the question. And then, we're going to do some digging here at the owners' meetings and on the pro day circuit. What do they really think of Carnell Tate? And if it's not him, are they in on Lemon? Are they in on Concepcion, who had a knee scope? Are they in on Denzel Boston, the big outside receiver from Washington, who's probably going to go in that range? Jordan Tyson, whose brother plays for the Cavs, who's got a little bit of a hamstring injury. Might he be there at 24? Is he good enough to take at 6? That's what this is all about. So those are the names you see on the screen there that we're going to be talking about. And Carnell Tate's up next week in Ohio State's Pro Day, and Julian Sain will be throwing to him.
Zach, I know you said you don't think the Browns are going to take Ty Simpson in the first round. I think most people agree with that. But do you think anybody will take him in the first round? Do you think a second quarterback goes in the first round?
I do think for this reason, Bull. I think if you like him, you're either taking him, you're not waiting, or you're moving back into the first round because you get that fifth-year option on a quarterback that is a long-term discount if he hits. So now that the Rams are down to 1 first-round pick instead of 2, I'm not sure. But what are the Steelers going to do? What are the Jets going to do? Are they going to be one of the teams that trades back in? And where are the Browns? Is some other team looming? So Ty Simpson was really good to start last year. He only started 1 year of college. There's nothing about him physically that's outstanding. Very average size, very average athleticism, but he's the son of a coach. He waited his turn in the Alabama program, and when his time came, he was ready. So he's been very impressive, I know, from talking to people and not in the in-person part of the process. His pro day is also next Wednesday. He also is on. He visited Cleveland. He's taking the full tour of visits and Zoom calls and all of that. So, yeah, I feel pretty strongly that he will go in the first round. But is it 13? Is it 16? Is it 21, 24? Or is it someone trading in back at 30? I don't know, but I feel pretty strongly that he will.
Zach, I was listening to Earl and Spencer German on 92 through the Fan, and Earl has said, he thinks that they might take a developmental quarterback somewhere in this draft. In terms of the developmental piece, and one guy we've heard a lot about, but not really a lot about, is Dylan Gabriel. Like, we've heard either the Browns are going to try to move on him or move away from him. Obviously, Deshaun Watson will probably not be here after this year. When it comes to a developmental quarterback, is that a position that you could see, that quarterback going against Dylan Gabriel or even possibly Shedeur Sanders? And where do you think the Browns will have the stomach to go after, like in terms of how high they would possibly look at a developmental quarterback?
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to that, Garrett. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's a developmental quarterback, and I think even going back, the best thing they ever said about him is, boy, he started a lot of games in college, right? Like, he quite clearly is not an NFL starter. He does not have the size or the ability. I don't think he'll be on the roster for the dynamics. I just don't think the opportunity to move him has come up yet. So that's just my gut feel, but that's how I look at it. A lot of people would say that the developmental quarterback in the NFL is a myth, because even the first rounders who they think are going to make it play right away. And, once you get out of training camp, once you get out of the preseason, you're focused on winning the game. You guys aren't getting opportunities. I think the Browns had a little bit different approach last year where they tried to develop those guys. They knew they had a unique situation with 4 quarterbacks and then with 2 rookies even when the season started. But those guys were never getting the proper reps. And now, the plug got pulled on that coaching staff, so they're kind of starting back from zero. The thought for this Browns team right now makes sense, because the Browns, it looks like, are going to let Shedeur ride and hope that it hits, or they're going to play for next year and they're going to have another high pick, and they might maneuver and try to get a second first-round pick next year. This number 24 pick they got this year was earmarked for a quarterback. So that's why I'm not totally closing the door on the Ty Simpson thing. But I do think right now, when you look at it, what has gone on and how it shapes up, it's like, let Shedeur go, see if he can be that. He was always the most direct ticket out of this Watson hell. And if it doesn't work, you're right back in next year, because the one thing this front office continues to do is push things to the future and position themselves for the future. They are clearly not pressed to win, right? And they are signing guys with void years through 2032 right now. So we'll see what happens. But it looks to me like it'll be Shedeur, Watson, and then some sort of developmental quarterback, unless it's Ty Simpson, in which case he will be competing for the starting job.
Zach, good stuff as always. Glad you figured out the internet situation there. Enjoy some donuts or
get that meatball sub. Get the
meatball sub, whatever you may have.
Hey, real quick, Mike, we got time for one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Since you're such the hoops junkie, let's switch gears. What'd you think of Miami having to be thrown into the first four, and who's your pick to win the national championship?
Yeah, I think it's right. I think that's where they belonged when you looked at their resume, right? And they lost the game, and they have to go earn it. And I think they should relish this opportunity, and I think not playing 2 extra games in Cleveland gives them a chance to win tonight. So my pick to win the national championship is the blue and gold team. That's, of course, the Akron Zips. I mean the Michigan Wolverines. That's who I'm riding with. So looking forward to the next couple of days. I think we're going to see a level of March Madness, right? Some upsets, but I think we're going to see some good teams at the end, and there's a bunch of them. I really think there's 9 or 10 teams that could win it, but I feel pretty strongly that Michigan's the best one.
All right, Zach. Good stuff, man. We'll talk to you soon. Safe travels.
See you guys next Wednesday from Columbus.
All right. There you go. Ohio State Pro Day next week.
He follows basketball, I think, closer than anybody I know.
Yeah, he's
College.
really into it. Yeah,
College, it's Maction and all
And
that.
high school.
Yeah,
high school.
That's
That's brother
crazy.
coaches.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring my computer with me to watch the tournament from the hospital.
Why would you do that?
You have a TV.
You're gonna have one of them good rooms, bro.
Oh yeah, I should check see if I have a TV in
I
my
would
room.
be shocked if
But
you don't have a TV.
though they're gonna have a TV, but it's not gonna have true TV in some of those channels.
CBS and TNT. And
they got-
TBS
they'll have
3 to 4
CBS.
games.
Yeah, I mean,
They'll
I don't know
have
what kind.
CBS.
I mean, yesterday tomorrow I'm gonna be out of it all day, so I don't know if we'll watch
I
anything.
just was at the hospital.
Yeah.
And I was there 8 hours, and they had the
All the
spectrum.
channels?
They had all of them, bro.
All right.
Tomorrow's a big vasectomy day.
It is.
For who?
For everybody.
People.
It is. For guys.
No, it's not a joke. This is a dead serious.
Oh yeah, because
Because
Because you have to sit on the couch.
sit on
and
the
not
couch
move.
with a bag of
Yeah,
peas
yeah.
on your crotch and watch basketball.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Like
Serious.
I've even seen doctors like marketing it as
Yeah, I think I had my vasectomy around this time.
around March Madness.
Bulls, yeah. Bulls. You know, I'm going to stop. No, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah,
All right, let's get to our
yep,
next
yep,
topic,
there you
guys.
go.
Reminder, follow us on social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You will still get UCSS content on X, Instagram, and TikTok, even after we move to the first hour over to the KYC Plus app. So make sure you guys follow along for the latest from UCSS. All right, last Browns topic of the day, guys. We were in the middle of our show yesterday when the Jalen Waddle trade came through. We talked about the price Denver paid, a first and a third-round pick with a flop of fourth-round picks. We saw the potential price for a Max Crosby deal. There's been a number of big-time trades already this offseason. It got me thinking real quick. We don't spend a ton of time on this, but if the market for some star players is as high as some of these prices have indicated, a la 2 first-round picks for a 29-year-old Max Crosby, a first-round and a third-round for Jalen Waddle. There are others that I haven't mentioned, but there have been other bigger deals out there. Do you think Andrew Berry could get in on the market as a seller with some of their older players knowing the premium price he could get? Or do you think he's still in it as a potential buyer knowing the price of some of these guys?
Who's besides Myles Garrett? Who would they sell?
Denzel Ward. I don't have my. I put it in the
Denzel
rundown
Ward's
yesterday.
not bringing you a lot back. He's older as a corner, and he's been injured. He's missed time.
concussion
Oh, some of the
thing
other
is
trades,
real.
by the way. The McDuffie trade and DJ Moore were the other two that I was
Yeah, I mean, I guess
looking at.
Denzel Ward will bring something back, but I don't think you're getting a first-round pick for Denzel
Can
Ward.
I interest you in a Jerry Judy?
Yeah, no.
Scratch and dent version.
Yeah.
I mean, and doesn't Myles Garrett's contract make
Yeah,
him hard
Garrett
to
makes
trade?
It
very
makes it
difficult to
difficult.
trade.
So
Very
as a
difficult.
seller, no, I don't think there's anything realistic as a seller.
You think they've been priced out as buyers then?
Are they
This team-
priced out? No, it depends.
This team is not one piece away from winning. Like, why are
No,
you?
but if you got a young player,
Yeah,
That-
but
that-
those
like
guys,
the Tyson Campbell move. Like that was a nice. I like that move because
right? But you didn't have to give up that much.
That's why I like that move. You
Yeah,
only
right.
get Newsom. You were not going to sign him because he was a first round pick. You weren't going to give him a new contract. You got Tyson Campbell, a guy who came in who's young, who played very well, and on top of it, he was already under contract. So I like those moves. But in terms of going out and just saying like, okay, let's go get this person, this person, this person, I'm Project Stockpile guy. But you have to do it in a way where it actually makes some sort of like sense, or where are you doing that at? And by the way, on the opposite end of the spectrum, some of the guys, the way it works is they're worth more value to you by just playing rather than having it on an open market.
I just don't see who the Browns could get at this point. Like who? Give me some examples.
If a team is willing to move off a young player, why?
Yeah.
There's a reason behind it.
And that's what I was reading that somebody said that about Brian Thomas Jr., who I've been interested in.
Yeah,
why are they moving on from him?
I still don't understand why.
It wouldn't make any sense. I think in the end they're not going to trade him, especially if they are being honest about Travis Hunter mostly playing defense going forward. So who else is there? Like A.J. Brown doesn't make sense for the Browns because he's old.
No.
If you're the Browns, you would only make a significant trade where you trade draft capital if you're getting a young player.
Correct.
Who's
you got to be the Guardians. Am I going to get you a young player under control?
under team control.
Under team control with a nice number that ain't crazy.
The Guardians haven't even made that kind of trade. That's what has been the most frustrating about the Guardians is they haven't even made that kind of trade in a while.
Right, you're right.
Anyway, I digress. The last time they did it was Savali for Manzardo, and it worked out. It was an absolute steal that Jay was apoplectically angry, because I don't know if apoplectically angry makes sense, but he was apoplectic about it. He was so mad at that trade.
Boy.
And it was one of the best moves they've made in the last half-decade.
All you need is Jimmy Haslam to own the Guardians.
Oh,
No.
Lord. Oh,
That
Lord.
would be terrible. As
Think
much
about-
as he'd be willing
think
to
about
spend.
it. Think about it, though, Bull. Think
Yeah.
about it.
The only
if you
way
had his bag, and he had this, you kept the front office.
If he put in writing that he was not allowed to involve himself with the front office, then it could be okay.
What if it was just a handshake agreement?
I don't trust him. The guy ripped off his customers. I don't trust him.
That I mean, if you either had Dan Gilbert looks like he's a little more frugal now, but if you had Dan Gilbert, or like
The current Dan Gilbert could be the owner of the Guardians. That I could do.
that would be you in there.
Yeah.
But no, we don't have no them trades. This is why I don't think that they're gonna trade for a receiver. Because the amount that I'm seeing that these guys getting on the open market, back in the day, receivers was starting to get to a point where they're like, oh, you get a receiver anywhere, like running backs. Not as to that point, but the market kind of exploded for receivers, where it was like even middle of the road receivers was starting to get decent money, 16, 17. I mean, Alec Pierce got how much?
A lot. Way more
Almost
than he should
$30
have.
million a year.
That's crazy. So if that's the going rate for him, your best option is to figure out if you got somebody in-house. Like that's, but then again,
Yeah. I don't see the Browns making a trade for a player of significance. I see them making a trade in the draft, moving around with draft picks, but
You can, because I don't want to contradict what we were saying a couple segments ago. You can make trades during the draft, but I don't think you're going to get the type of impact guys that we're talking about now. Those guys don't become available. You can get a guy to fill a hole for a year.
sure.
In a trade at the draft, but you're
Right.
not getting a young impact blue chip
And
guy.
if you're not getting that, you're not giving up a first-round
Right.
pick.
that's why the draft is. Eventually you got to hit on somebody.
Yeah.
Like you can't just keep going by other people's houses, being like, hey man, can I borrow your tool set?
Yeah.
Nah, bro, you got your own tools, bro. You're doing a lot of work.
That's what Andrew Berry did again on the offensive line, is trying to piece it together, and he got some okay guys. But the Browns still have no long-term answers on the offensive line.
That's why they have to hit on one of those guys too.
That's right. That's right. All right, Mike.
All right, let's talk a little Guardians, guys. Before we do that, Bull, you did an Ultimate Guardian show this morning.
We did.
With our friend Zach, the other Zach, not Zach Jackson from Sheets, but Zach from,
Zach from
Ohio.
Sheets.
Bull, what did you talk about this morning?
Yeah, Zach and I did the Ultimate Guardians season preview this morning. We were live from 8:30 to 9 a.m., or about maybe like 9:10. So go back and check it out. We previewed the season. We went through the roster. We gave you thoughts on really almost everybody on the Guardians. The update on Ramirez, updates on Bazana and Reese Hoskins, and we went through the rotation, the bullpen, and we really went through everything to get you ready for the season. The Guardians play their first game in Seattle to start the regular season 1 week from tomorrow. And they have a very tough schedule. We don't talk about schedule as much in baseball.
Yeah.
Right.
They're scheduled to start the season. Think about this. The Mariners first,
Tough.
who were the favorites to win the West.
Yep.
The Dodgers second,
L's.
who were the favorites to win it all. The Cubs third,
Yes,
who were
sir.
the favorites to win the NL Central. And then they play the Royals, who are, solid. Their April schedule is brutal, but their first three series are against three of the best teams in baseball, at least on paper.
They got great pitching. Those first two especially.
The Cubs have
And the
good
Cubs,
pitching too.
yeah, and the Cubs.
They're all top 10 pitching rotations.
The Guardians get screwed all the time because, like, it's almost worse than a rodeo trip.
Well,
for
a lot of the cold
Spurs.
weather teams will start on the West Coast,
But it just seems like
but better to start with the A's and the
give me the A's and the Angels.
the Giants and the Angels, who are going to be terrible.
Give me the Angels, but I don't want to start with Seattle and L.A. And then you get interleague play already. That's crazy.
Well, now it's 50
always-
and 50. There's always interleague play.
So make sure you guys check it out. It is on our YouTube page.
Yeah.
Best Guardians podcast you can find.
Thank
Sack
you.
and Bull. All right. We do have a Guardians topic, though. And I texted you yesterday, Bulk, so I wanted to make sure there'd be a multitude of different answers for this question. We talked about after Jose's injury, how basically the Guardians just cannot withstand missing Jose for any significant period of time if they have playoff aspirations. So Jose disqualified from this discussion. Disqualified. He is the answer, the obvious answer, if he was available, so he's out. Mm-hmm. So without Jose being allowed outside of Jose, who is the Guardians' most irreplaceable player in 2026? You start us off, Bull.
Right now, I would say, there's a number of guys you can pick, but I'm actually going to go with Cade Smith. Yeah, a little surprised you there.
Yeah.
I like the Guardians' bullpen from top to bottom, but I have no faith that anybody else can close. It's different being a reliever and being a closer. Hunter Gaddis is banged up right now. I don't even know if we don't even know if he's going to start the season healthy and on the team. He might be on the injured list. And nobody else on this team has any closing history at all in the major leagues. So Cade Smith has been their best relief pitcher and maybe their best pitcher, period, for the last 2 years. Look at those numbers. 104 strikeouts in 73 innings is crazy. If the Guardians, especially early in the season, are going to be competitive, it's all about their pitching. Their lineup, we'll see. There's a lot of variance in what their lineup might be, but I would expect their lineup to be better in the second half of the year than in the first because guys will get their feet under them. Travis Bazzana will probably be up at some point. But early in the season, they're going to need their pitching to be great. And you got to have great pitching, you got to have a lockdown closer. And Cade Smith is that lockdown closer. If they lost him, it would be a disaster.
If you didn't hate Emmanuel Clase enough, Leo DeVries was phenomenal this year in spring training for Oakland, and that's probably who they would have gotten from San Diego. I don't know that 100%.
Yeah.
I like that Clase thing is going to haunt this franchise.
What a mess. What a mess.
Years.
Right.
Lost for free.
Clearly, the answer would not be Cade Smith if Emmanuel Clase was still here.
Yeah.
He'd still be a big loss, but it wouldn't be as big.
Yeah.
Go ahead, G-Bush. What do you got?
Listen, I was going to say, this is too easy. I was going to say Gavin Williams, but that's too master obvious. I'm going to go with Bybee. He was 12 and 11, right? And he took a step back. Now, before that, he had, in my opinion, pitched much more consistently than Gavin Williams up to last year. Now, Gavin Williams has more tools. He's a more physically imposing pitcher, like in terms of, if he was on the open market, Gavin Williams is the dude where you see the Padres or somebody give him a whole wad and a bag of money. But I'm going to go with Bybee because you don't got enough. Like you said, if the Guardians want to be good, they got to have the pitching be excellent. And it has to be excellent in the bullpen and the starter. So I'm looking at Tanner Bybee. I'm going to go with him. And to be honest with you, if they really want to hit their ceiling, because again, the sticks are what they are. You can hope that Valera, I think he's hurt right now, right?
He is.
You can hope that DeLauder or Kafis or any of these dudes show up and do something. Bazzana is already going to be in the minors. But if you were to tell me the Guardians won the division and they got out of the wild card round, I would tell you it's because Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee had great years, both of them. If the best way to tell me whether the Guardians are good or not is to see if both of those pitchers make the All-Star team. And if they both of them made the All-Star team, I would probably tell you the Guardians have probably one of the best records in baseball.
Oh, yeah.
All right, 2 pitchers so far. You going pitcher or you going hitter?
No, I'm going hitter. This was actually kind of hard for me because I don't think that there is one, if we're being totally honest.
That's right.
You make a good case for Cade. But I went with Stephen Kwan only because
he's a good choice.
He's the guy at the top of the lineup. But 3 months ago, I wasn't sure he was even going to be here now.
Yeah.
I thought that they may have moved. I know they came close to moving him at the deadline. I thought that they would move him during the offseason, so I'm a little surprised he's still here, which makes it hard for that to be the answer. I can't say Gavin Williams because he hasn't established himself yet as the horse that we think he can be, but he's not there yet. And if Bybee can sort of return to form, that takes some of the – so those two sort of count each other out as far as I'm concerned because they're sort of 1 and 1A right now. Oh. But Kwan being the table setter at the top of the lineup, a guy who obviously has great bat-to-ball skills, moving to center field now is crucial because if you lose him, you can put Angel Martinez in center and keep DeLauder in the corner.
I was thinking about that too.
But I would much rather have Stephen Kwan at the top of the lineup than Angel Martinez. So I will go with Kwan, but I'm not convinced on it. I like your Cade Smith answer, if I'm being totally honest. I was thinking more in the Kwan Gavin Williams mold. Yeah. But just being a guy who gets on base, who is at least one table setter that they have in this lineup for guys like Jose. I think Manzardo's on the verge of a big year. I have high expectations for him this year. So he's another one that you could put in there, but he just hasn't done it yet at a high enough level, consistently enough. And you got to hope that I assume he's in the lineup every day, even against lefties. Yeah. But they just want to, but they're going to have injuries. Like, I don't know how you can count on DeLauder and Valera to be healthy for the entire year. They've never proven they can. And Valera's already hurt. He's already got the calf. Right. So this is going to be a thing where these guys are in and out of the lineup, I think, throughout the year. It's just, can you have them healthy in October if you get there?
What do they think about Kwan as around baseball circles in terms of like the scouts? Because I thought in my mind, seeing him when he was flirting with 400 and being a great outfielder, I thought, or left field, I thought that, they may have had him as a guy who is really like an elite hitter. But last year he took some steps back at the plate a little bit. Like in circles, is he, in terms of his value, do they see him as like a 4-tool player, or is he an elite defender or an elite base runner? Like, I'm trying to figure out what mold is he in order to.
I think he's a very good player. I think he gets overrated by fans here.
He's overrated by fans here, yes.
Yeah. He's a very good player, and moving to center is going to help him. It's going to help his value at least,
right,
and help his stock.
But he won't win a Gold Glove in center, probably.
I mean, I wouldn't say that definitively, but probably not. Like, if you're going to make me guess right now who's going to win a Gold Glove,
he's got much tougher competition.
Yeah.
But he'll be good in center field.
Yeah.
He's a very good hitter. You can't look at, in a way, you don't look like 281 is a career average. At first I'm like, well, that's not that great.
But that's the new 300,
for
right?
modern baseball, a 281 career average is very good. That's like hitting 300. But he's not. I mean, he ain't Tony Gwynn.
No.
Yeah. He's not George Brett.
No.
He's not that level of hitter. He has no power. He's a great base runner. He is a great base stealer.
He's got a great arm.
He is a great defensive player. He'll be a very good center fielder. So he brings a lot to the table.
He doesn't have one elite player.
But no, part of the reason he might not have been traded at this point is because teams are he's a weird guy to trade for because there's very few players like him in Major League Baseball. To me, the only comp for him in baseball is Nico Horner of the Cubs. They're very unique. You can mention Luis Arraez, but Arraez isn't even at that level because Arraez, unlike Nico and Kwan, who are elite defenders, Arraez stinks in the field.
Yeah.
And Arraez and Nico and Kwan are also elite base runners, where Arraez is not a great. Arraez is only a good. Now he's a better pure singles hitter than even those guys. But I don't know what the trade would be.
I think there's a market for him at the deadline last year. I think the Guardians put such a high price on him.
Right. And nobody's going to overpay for a singles hitter.
Yeah.
They're just not going to do that.
They could trade him and get good players or good value.
But you're not getting a team's best prospect for Stephen Kwan.
No, I mean the Padres chose Mason Miller and Leo DeVries. I mentioned earlier. He's 19, stud shortstop, would look phenomenal in a Guardians jersey next year. But the Clase thing killed that. But they were in on Kwan too, and they chose the closer over Kwan.
Right, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Quan's a good ball player. I still don't understand why he and the Guardians can't figure out a contract, because if he were a free agent, he's not getting crazy money.
I think it's too late on that. I think that the Guardians tried.
What does he think he's going to get in free agency?
I don't know. More than they've offered.
What do you think he's going to get? Because I don't think he's getting even $20 million a year.
Well, what's really going to skew everything is this work stoppage. I have no idea what contracts are going to look like on the other side.
Yeah, it depends.
Right now, I think he's a $18 million a year player
at best.
Yeah, I think he'd get 18.
I think he's 15, maybe 18. It depends, but
maybe he's betting on himself.
That's not undoable for the Guardians.
Maybe he's looking for 1 year of obscure power.
Yeah, listen, if you get 25 home runs this year, that would change it.
And then hopefully get hot, and hey, look at my power numbers. If he's flirting with 20, he gets
he wins a Gold Glove in center and hits 25 home runs, we look at him differently. But I don't think
from that standpoint, let's just say he could hit. We'll split the difference. 23 home runs this year. 23
is splitting the difference.
That's 23 is hot.
25,
so okay.
Even 20. Even 20
crazy.
Yeah.
Even 20. Where could his average dip to from where it's been in the past, where you still think it's the same?
Nah, I can't dip at all.
Production.
274.
It can't dip at all.
He can't be at 274. 274 with 20 home runs and some stolen bases.
Yeah, no.
281 to 274 to me is not really a dip.
Yeah, I guess that's not really any dip.
Okay.
281 to 260 is a dip.
Yeah.
Okay.
255 is a dip.
It can't dip more than a few points.
So even the increase in power, you wouldn't want him
but
to.
It's just not realistic. I don't think him hitting 23 home runs is realistic.
I mean, what did he have in 24? He had that was the year
I pulled up Leo DeVries.
And remember, he gets 1 million at bats and still doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Like, he gets more plate appearances than almost anybody.
That could skew. If I'm him, I'm going into the lab with a pen and pad. I'm like, listen.
14, Jason.
Was that his career high?
Yeah, he's 6'5", 14, 11.
And in the year he had 14, how many plate appearances did he have?
480 is the least amount of games he's played in his career.
So
he had a hamstring.
He missed some time.
If he can bulk up.
But that's when he started trying to just pull the ball more, put it in the air and pull it more.
Right.
And he got 14.
I think he is who he is, and he should be who he is.
I agree.
And I think he's a valuable player. And this, again, I think they should sign him. But
hey,
they ain't listening to me.
If he's a left-handed hitter, if he can hit the ball in the air in right field and that little jet stream out there, he may get 6 more home runs. But I don't know if that's his approach and what he's looking to do. But look, I think the Guardians tried to sign him, and Jason might be right. They might have offered him over what his value was at this point.
They offered the Jimenez deal.
I can't speculate. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if they went as high as they did on Jimenez, because they tried to get off that deal almost as soon as they signed it.
Well, because they realized that Jimenez wasn't the player they thought.
Yeah, and he was getting 23 million.
Juan has way more of a consistent track record than Jimenez does.
He does. But at the end of the Jimenez deal, I think he was on the hook for 22, 23 million a year.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize it was that much.
That's spicy.
I think.
I don't remember, but anyway. Yeah. When it comes, by the way, when it comes to what was the original question? Oh, we answered the question. One other thing with the Guardians, I think their roster is pretty much set. I was discussing this with Zach, and he and I agreed.
Is Stuart Fairchild going to make the roster?
Probably not.
Okay.
But I didn't realize Stephen Fairchild. I didn't played with Stephen Vogt. They were teammates. I didn't remember that.
Stuart Fairchild.
Stuart Fairchild, yeah. So if Valera is healthy, I think Nolan Jones has got to be gone.
I'm with you, and I said before, I thought Nolan. He's been so bad.
They just can't do it.
I don't know how you can roster him.
If Valera has to start the season on the IL, maybe they keep Jones.
I don't even know if you keep him then.
I wouldn't keep him either way. And I liked him. I was always a fan, but it's clear that one good year was the anomaly.
Wouldn't you just play Kafis if Valera's hurt? Would you play Kafis in the outfield?
They still might. You could just do that. Or you could, keep a Stuart Fairchild or Petey Halpin.
Wasn't he hitting in Colorado?
He had one good year in Colorado.
One good year in Colorado.
And I thought a couple weeks ago, I was trying to make the case that because he's out of options, because he's a veteran, he doesn't have to play every day. He can play all 3 outfield spots. there's value in keeping him and letting Martinez start in the minors and playing every day. You want him getting every day at bats.
Yeah.
And I still think it's better if Angel Martinez isn't playing every day up here. I think it's more valuable for him and his development to be in Columbus.
Yeah, but if Valera's not healthy, Martinez might play it.
He might, and that's and maybe instead of Kafis, maybe Martinez.
And then you could keep and Fairchild is a good guy as like your last outfielder.
Yeah,
because he could play all three possessions well defensively.
Nolan,
he's not really a major league player.
Nolan has been so bad. I just think it's time to move on.
And let's face it, Austin Hedges shouldn't be on the roster now that David Fry can catch.
He's a vibes guy.
He's a coach.
I know Jay's obsessed with him. They should just pay him the same salary and let him be another assistant coach. I wouldn't really play him. I mean, I would platoon Fry and Bo Naylor at catcher.
Where's Schneeman playing? Is he going to be?
Schneeman's going to be just a utility.
He'll be on the roster.
Yeah. The bench is going to be Schneeman, Martinez, Hedges, and Fry. And that's if Valera's healthy. Now, if Valera's not healthy, Martinez and Schneeman will be the third outfielder in some combination. And then they'll have either Nolan Jones, Kafis, Halpin, or Fairchild as the last player. And then the rotation, probably Parker Messick's going to start in the minors. I asked Zach if he thought there was a chance that Messick and Cantillo could be in the rotation with Allen going to the minors, and he didn't think that was the case, even though I think they're both definitely better than Allen.
Yeah.
But probably Messick will start in the minors. And the only question in the pen is if Hunter Gaddis is ready to go. If he's not ready to go, then what's his name might make the team. Colin Holderman could make the team, who they got. Like
McNuggets boy Slade Ciccone.
Slade Ciccone's had a good spring training.
He's had very good spring training.
He's definitely on the roster.
Yeah.
But you got to take all spring training numbers with a grain of salt.
You shut your mouth.
But some of the movement and some of the movement on his pitches,
Yes,
some of his stuff,
but especially for hitters, because the ball flies in Arizona.
I just you don't have to look at stats as much as spring training, but now you can see
velocity,
you can see
ball movement,
vertical break on pitches and stuff like that.
They have all this crazy info.
Yeah, so you could see if guys' what their stuff looks like without worrying about.
What's the ceiling? What's the ceiling?
I said today with Zach, and he didn't disagree. I said like everything goes right,
they can
95
win
wins.
They can win the division.
Yeah,
as good as the Tigers are, this team could win the division.
Like, think about it. What if this is a massive if between injuries and unprovenness?
Sure, but
a top six in your lineup, not in this order, but a top six of the lineup of Bazana, DeLauder, Manzardo, Hoskins, Kwan, and Ramirez. If those guys all play at their best, that could be really good.
That's a major league lineup.
Yes.
Yeah.
Finally.
And then 7, 8, 9 don't even matter that much.
You're back to having people that you can kind of count on to at least give you
but there's
something.
a lot of big ifs in that group.
Yeah, Bazana is the biggest if right now.
Yeah, I don't even
I don't know how you can put him in there. Frankly,
I've seen 5 at bats from him.
Well, I'm saying because I think he'll be up by May.
I hope.
You think?
Yes, I think so.
He has to force their hand. He
right.
has to force
I think he
it.
will. And Rocchio and Arias are going to stink again, and he'll replace one of them.
Yeah.
And then, I could go even further and say, well, what if Bo Naylor finally reaches his potential and Valera? Now we're at 8 decent players.
I really like Valera. Like, I'm really, really high on Valera.
Well, he at one point was an elite prospect. He's just been hurt so much.
It's the injuries with him. Him and DeLauder are the same. Like,
and then even in the bullpen, another guy is Espino, who could help at some point.
Yes.
Who also was a great prospect.
That is very exciting.
I think he could be. If he's their 8th inning guy at some point this season, it wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me either.
Yeah. You got to be very careful with him.
Yeah. But I mean, you bring him in.
Yeah.
Clean inning.
Yeah.
He pitches 1 inning, he sits down.
And doesn't pitch that. Not going to pitch him back-to-back days.
Right. So I think that there's a way. I mean, I don't think it's outrageous at all to think by June or July, he's one of their high leverage guys. I won't even say 8th inning. I'll just say he's one of their high leverage guys.
Right. On the other hand, Espino can get hurt again.
Yep.
DeLauder and Valera could still
get hurt. It's just a matter of if it's a 2-week hamstring or
Bazana could still be in the minors, and you could be the Guardians could win 95. They could win 75.
That's exactly.
I mean, that's as big a variety they have, and that's much more wild than a lot of other teams.
Yeah. 75. Ooh.
Like you ask me, the Royals, they're between 75 and 85. The Tigers are between 85 and 95. But the Guardians could be have a much bigger variance.
Give me a squad that you come playoff time and you look around and you be like, how the heck did they make the playoffs? And you be like, no, they're actually really good. That people would never think
The
about.
Guardians.
Besides the Guardians?
The Guardians would be that team for me nationally.
I mean, there's 3 teams that you can say that about every year. The Guardians, the Brewers, and the Rays every year. And everybody's picking the Cubs, and everybody's writing off the Brewers. And I think that's stupid. The Cubs, on paper, are the favorites. There's no doubt. But the Brewers have had their number. So I'm not counting out the Brewers.
The Cubs could definitely win between 1 and 161 games this year, for sure. I put a lot of money that the variance is between 1 and 161.
I
got
think
a little
Baltimore
bit
could be
of
good. I think Baltimore.
Anybody could win the East.
I think Baltimore's a team nobody's talking
I
about.
actually think, even though I think the Guardians can win the division, I actually think the Tigers, if you ask me, who's most likely to win their division in the American League, I'd say the Tigers. Followed by the Mariners.
Got a little bit of breaking news for you guys.
Go ahead.
It's fun breaking news.
Okay.
But we all know that the people who watch this show are G. Bush fans.
Sure.
Sometimes they're Jason Lloyd haters. However, Jason, I think you have won your first ever poll in the history of UCSS.
Wow.
No, I won a poll once
Yeah,
before.
he did. He won.
His second poll in the history.
We had asked.
And he killed us on the trivia joint where he was the nameless
Oh,
players.
that was
player-
awesome.
Name that dude.
We gotta play that.
He
We gotta
ran
play
that.
that.
Oh, I'm like, dang, bro, he know all these.
That's a
dudes.
good
That's a
summer
great one.
activity.
We'll bring that back with Jason. We asked
Dustin
who's the
was
most
surprisingly
irreplaceable
good,
Guardians player not named Jose outside of the 3 options. Stephen Kwan got 45% of the vote. So the fans, the chat, they're Lloyd lovers.
And
Shadorians and Lloyd lovers.
yeah.
What was the rest of the polling?
Just switched out. The rest of the polling was Cade Smith 24%, Tanner Bybee 20%, and Manzardo had 12%. I added Manzardo because he would have been my pick.
On the new app, McNuggets, do we have polls?
I hope so.
We'll figure it
I
out.
hope so. I got a meeting at 2 o'clock today to get some more answers on that.
All right, Super Chats.
Super Chats. AF Unleashed said everyone should check out a link in this chat for a blog called Wenty World. It's about a trip Bull took in college back to Brooklyn with his friends, thinking about him and hoping for a speedy return.
What?
That is so rare. What was it called?
Wenty World?
Oh, yeah. How did that person come across that? That is so bizarre. Who wrote that message?
AF Unleashed.
Wenty World?
I'm assuming.
Yeah,
so,
you got to fill us in now.
So when I was in college, I went, I'm from New York originally, so we went to New York. My college was in upstate New York, out by Rochester, and I took 3 friends from college, and we went to New York. One of them was a guy named Jason Wentworth, and I think he did like a blog about it. This was years ago, though. This was like in the late 90s.
Dang, he had a
It's like decades, not years ago. Like decades.
It was me, Jason Wentworth. His nickname is Dr. J. He's been working at the same radio station in Nebraska for, I think, 30 years since we graduated, or almost 30 years since we graduated. Well, he actually graduated a year before me. And then the other people were Heather Bear and Pat Adriance. I think there's a picture of us there by the bull in Wall Street. There's like a bull.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of us, like it looks like I'm trying to hold it. I look very young there. So go
crazy.
check it out. That's funny.
Check out Wenty World. It's gonna get
I don't know how this person randomly came across that.
Whoever runs Wenty World, your friend, if he still runs it, is gonna see an uptick in views on an article.
Yeah,
from
Dr.
3
J.
decades
Well,
ago,
I'm saying, yeah.
All right,
Most talented guy I ever worked with in my life, Dr. J.
Dr. J.
And he's kept himself in Nebraska for 30 years.
That's crazy.
Sports guy?
No, not a sports guy. He's a DJ.
DJ?
The best, most talented DJ I've ever heard in my life.
Interesting.
And nobody will ever know who he is.
Shorty Xander says, I listen to the show on Spotify every day. Will the new show format still be posting the 2 full hours on Spotify? I will find out and get you an official answer tomorrow. I believe the answer is yes. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to still post the 2 hours on Spotify. Dawson Lowe says, will the Browns score more than 40 points this season?
In a game?
In a game.
Let's see what the roster looks like.
I mean, right now, I'd say no. They still don't have any receivers.
I would too, but it's much 18. Let's see what the roster looks like.
They got to pay me some more dividends.
And 40 is a lot of points. It's not like that's a common score.
I'm very shy on giving numbers.
Did the Browns score 40 last year? They did not, right?
I think the last time they scored 40 might have been when they played the Broncos in that crazy Jameis Winston game. I'll look it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still shy from the
2
40,
years ago.
that 4,500. I don't give predictions on 4,500.
All right, in 25 this year, the most points they scored.
Dolphins, right? Was it Miami? 31? Is that right?
And the Titans
31.
lost, they scored 30-something.
No, they had 29 in that loss. 31 against Miami.
I think
In
that was the
24. No, they gave up 41 in that game. They scored 32.
So they haven't scored more than 32 in 2 years.
It might be
Let's
3.
go back to 2023.
I ain't seen a 40-piece nugget in a
They
while.
had 37 against the Jets in the Joe Flacco run and 36
lost?
against the
Which
Texans.
they lost.
Oh, they had 39 in the P.J. Walker game against the Colts that year.
Which they won.
They won. They won all 3 of those games. Texans, Jets, and
No, they lost the Jet game.
No, they won.
They
No, that's
clinched
when
the playoff
Flacco
spot.
played for the.
Oh,
yeah.
I was
with
thinking
you.
of the
I-
outside
yeah,
kick game.
I
in
was
December.
too.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
too.
Okay, yeah,
and
right.
even that Colts game, I think they blocked a kick or something.
Yeah,
for a
they had-
Did
touchdown.
Miles had a strip sack in the end zone and they
Yeah.
blocked it. That was
Well, didn't
P.J.
they have a
Walker.
big lead and they almost blew it?
No, they was getting smoked by
That's-
Gardner
oh,
Minshew
that's
running
right.
read
Oh,
options.
yeah, right, yeah.
Deshaun went out on like the second series in that game, didn't
That's
he?
right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So they still haven't scored 40, 39.
They haven't scored 40 going back to at least 21.
So they have never scored 40 since Mike has lived in Cleveland. Mike's the
Yes,
Hold on,
I
J-
have not.
Baker
in-
Mayfield in Tennessee.
In 21, they scored 40 against the Bengals. They had 41.
Yeah, that was. They blew him out that game, right?
Yeah, 41-16.
Yeah.
Was
So,
that
all
in
right.
Cincy?
Next
Yeah.
super
Is
chat.
that the Denzel
I
pick
believe.
six?
I believe the Bengals marched the ball down the field on the first drive. Denzel had a pick
Pick
six at the
six.
goal
Yep.
line, and then it just
yeah.
they Browns
Yeah.
just did
I
whatever
remember
they
that.
wanted.
Was
to.
that
I
the
remember that
game?
game.
That is that game, yes.
Yeah.
That was that game.
There was also another game where Baker and Burrow combined for like 80 points, and the Browns won that game too.
There was
think.
an overtime game against the well, not overtime. The Cowboys game was high scoring when Odell Beckham ran that reverse.
Yeah, right.
And
But yeah, okay. So that was the last 40-point game.
Yeah.
years.
21.
21.
Dang.
All right, so it'll be 5 years maybe.
That's wild.
Hopefully we can end that streak soon.
All right. Kimmy and M. You guys ready for this one?
Yeah.
According to PFF, Judkins did not have a good season. Overall PFF grade was a 66.6, ranked 47th out of 55 qualified running backs. Yet I don't hear the media saying he's bad, he's promising, and good.
No, he said
Shador-
no. Bull says he's bad. I'll give you.
I said he did
Bull
not have a good
says
season.
it's a lot.
I like potential, yes. So if that guy wants to argue with me.
I argue with him.
Our
Bull.
argument yesterday wasn't whether or not Shador Sanders had potential. It was whether or not he had a good season last year.
Objectively.
Yeah.
Okay. Last one, Nate Godwin says Broncos got Waddle, the Chiefs got Kenneth Walker, Rams got McDuffie, the Browns got average linemen, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. I disagree with that. The Browns got better.
Okay, they
I mean,
it's about it's objectively. Here's the thing.
yeah.
I will agree. Yes, they got these linemen. They need a bunch more stuff.
Yeah.
I got Project
They
Stockpile.
signed linemen. Do we know that they got
Yeah, right.
better?
We don't know that they got better.
I mean,
but we didn't.
what's better than nothing?
You don't know. You don't know.
They had nobody on contract.
I think they got a little better, but
They can't possibly be worse, I don't think.
on the offensive line.
On the line.
Yeah. Offense, period. They can't be worse. I mean, I guess. I mean, the Titans were worse in terms of points per game.
Man, they
so
can't be
I guess
no-
it could
man,
be worse,
they-
but
they can't be worse.
that's not the same, though, Mike. It's not about just getting better. Those are exciting players that people are excited about. You're not going to get excited about
I'm just
mediocre
saying
offensive linemen.
they upgraded a position that I didn't think could be worse with players who
Yep.
should be better.
Right, but they didn't solve any long-term issues.
Oh, but I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that.
I think they plugged holes nicely for
Yeah.
what they had.
I
They
think
plugged
the
some
guy
nice holes.
was making the point that these other teams got exciting players that you're excited. Nobody's excited about Zion Johnson or whatever the hell the name is. That's
Zion
the
Johnson,
Yeah.
put some respect on his name.
No.
And he's the highest paid guard in the league. What are you talking about?
Is he really?
No, he's the highest paid guard in free agency, though.
And listen, he just got that bag like
Wyatt Teller got a 2-year contract, although I'm sure there's no guarantee.
Oh, yeah, Bull, you said you want to talk about Wyatt Teller. You got 15
Well, no, I
seconds.
just
Go.
wanted to mention it.
You said you wanted to. You got 15 seconds. Talk about Wyatt Teller. Dance.
Congrats to Wyatt Teller for getting a 2-year deal. I'm sure it's only guaranteed for 1 year. Where did he sign? Houston? Yeah.
Houston.
You don't seem very excited for him.
I mean,
disappointing, Bull.
I'm
I thought you
excited.
had more excitement for Wyatt.
I just wanted to give it a
Great
mention.
deal.
It's not a big deal.
But it's a big deal. His Bulls
Good
getting
luck
the
to him in
surgery.
Washington.
He's on the road to health and happiness.
Yep.
We appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Excited to see you when you
We'll
come
see
back.
you later.
The World Baseball Classic in OT. Peace.